Right. Awesome.
There it is. It's starting. And we are probably live. We're in red, of course, like always. The OBS
Always a good
studio has
sign.
this thing. It tries to tell me my resolution is off when I already know it ain't. It's just a glitch with the software and going live. Don't worry about it. We're live right now. And so, we ain't got no viewers in here yet, but I'm sure we will have once they realize we're alive.
Yeah,
But
or
we
you
are
can get
live.
viewers afterwards. Next day or whenever people are watching it.
Well, there'll be people who come in, and the next day people see it, so it doesn't much
Yeah.
matter. So, I did do a video, though, Blue Skies Media
Oh,
posted up a new video saying, he's got his new game plan now. I like the word he
right.
had to use game. He had to put that game in there.
Yeah.
His new game plan is he's now talking to women overseas.
Hmm.
Okay, and so he's got his new game plan, and these women that he's talking to, and he's not going to say where at, but they're overseas. Oh, that this girl he's talking to is willing to date him. And I said, well, of course she is.
Well,
She's overseas. Don't you understand? A whole new market's opened up for foreign women because they know that desperate men want to date, so they say everything you want to hear, and then they get you to start sending them money.
yeah, that's how it works. But I guess, it's like, is prostitution a cure for TFL? You know?
Is prostitution a cure for TFL? No, because
No,
the
I don't think so.
the problem is this: the only people who might think prostitution's a cure for TFL are people that think that love is sex.
Oh, yeah. No, it's not.
And prostitution will never ever be a cure for TFL. I see Ron's here, and we have Terminator here, and I'll say hi to the guys. And yeah, Ron's telling me Dwayne Holloway, classic example. Yeah. Well,
Oh,
Ron, Dwayne Holloway was around. He made himself a new profile, and I screen captured it. And he was like telling me the comment. He told on himself in the comment. It was so funny because he left the comment telling me that. Matter of fact, I'll bring that up. Okay, so that I'll read it to you. Okay, the comment was the Sons of Liberty will cleanse the TFL movement. We will never forgive you for how you treated Dwayne Holloway. That was the clinch. That's where he told on himself. Because he's never going to forgive me for him leaving the movement on his own. Oh, I changed the password to my blog talk radio show on my channel, what I created, what I done. And so I abused him by changing my password. Ah, yeah. See, so you get it. This is how I abused him. So he's never going to forgive me. But see, the clincher was when I said, so I was a smart ass the minute he left the comment. And I'm sitting here and I seen it come in. And I read it and I looked at the name and I says, yep. And I typed, hi, Dwayne. And it fucking within seconds, I got a reply back saying, this is not Dwayne. So then I typed back and said, yes, this is Dwayne. And I says, I hope things are going good for you, blah, blah, blah. And he didn't answer. And he didn't answer. The next day he came back and said something, and I typed back to him all nice and told him, yeah, Dwayne, I hope things are going good, blah, blah. And then I did that video talking to Dwayne, and I knew already once I'd done that, he would take that channel down. And that's exactly what he did. He took the channel down. He removed all of his comments and took the channel down. So he did exactly what I knew he was going to do. Dwayne used to always say that he was the master, okay, the master of manipulation or psychological warfare. He was the master at psychological warfare, and he outmastered himself there.
Oh, it's a crazy story.
Well, it is, but that just happened over the last few days.
Oh,
You
yeah,
know,
just crazy
and
behavior.
Warren was laughing because Warren says to me, "Damn, I haven't heard the word Sons of Liberty in 7 or 8 years." I says, "I know."
Yeah, I don't even know who they are.
Well, Dwayne spent a long time now since he walked away from the TFL movement. He's been here the whole time. He's just troll. He's a troll now, is all he is. It's sad because Dwayne was actually a really good speaker, and he was a really good
Yeah,
researcher, and he's still TFL. You can take that to the bank. And so why doesn't he want to stand with people who are in his situation? I think it's too stressful for him to talk about it. So he'd just rather act like a child and troll you.
yeah, it'll get better someday. Someday.
Yeah, when you're dead and gone, man, it'll get better. Yep, maybe. I don't want to say it's on the other side.
Yeah, I think
I
that's the
feel,
end.
well, Ron's right. The people I think I feel the worst for are the young people because, I see Dave is here, and even Dave will tell you this. When you've lived TFL, your hardest times when you were young. As you get into
Yeah,
your 30s and move on up, a lot of TFLers now begin to become stronger and are not affected as the way they used to be. Okay, at least for a lot. This is not 100% across the board because some people, they just get stuck in a paradigm like a broken record
yeah,
and
going round in a loop.
can't pull themselves out of it.
Yeah, negative thought patterns can be some, very immobilizing things. Like, a lot of, a lot of
Yeah,
like, you know, if you're stuck in life, a lot of that can, have something to do with negative thought patterns. Like, I mean, not sorry, like repetitive thought patterns. Like, just keep thinking the same thing again and again and again and again, and nothing changes.
yeah. Well, you got a lot of guys that still falling into this shit about going overseas. And that's the only reason
Yeah,
I said what I said about Blue Skies Media, because the facts are this. It's right in your face. All the countries across the world where men are experiencing the exact same problem there that you are in America. That's not an
yeah,
accident. I've always told people this is NWO, social engineering, and what is global? New World Order. Well, why would it be world if it's not global, huh? You think it's an accident that all these different countries are having these same problems, but there's no accident about that. That's the thing. Okay, you got all these countries. I mean, Jay, you're over there in the United Kingdom, and and Joe's over there in Australia, and you're having the same problems there that's happening in America. And then a lot of younger guys will say, "Well, this is the way it's always been." Bullshit.
yeah. It was. I think the problem's bad in Europe as well, but I was over in Spain and I noticed a lot more normal behavior going on there. People were a bit more friendly, but they would look you in the eye a bit more. They were a bit more social. So I think a lot of this English sort of speaking media, which emanates from America, is a big cause for people's sort of weird behaviors, and that affects the English speaking countries the most. I think they are like the worst places to live, is
Well,
the English
it depends
countries.
on how fast they move with the social engineering. I don't know how big Spain is, okay?
Yeah,
And the idea, it's a global agenda, but you're basically, you're social engineering and brainwashing the entire globe. And that takes lots of time because, so they pick out your bigger continents, your bigger countries, and your powerful countries first.
Right.
That's where this comes from. So your powerful countries are first. So America's destroyed. Oh yeah, you're not bringing back the family unit. That's gone. It's over with. You're not going to straighten it out. The damage is already too far gone. People's brains are too far gone. So
Yeah.
and for Jay here, I mean, I was really impressed because of his age to be as awake as he is. But I did give VVS a new name. I figured that
Hmm.
the VVS stands for very, very asleep.
Very, very sleep.
Right. Well, come on, I'm a conspiracy theorist because I talk about where this problem came from. And if
Oh
so,
yeah, I
I
mean,
so I'm a conspiracy theorist according to VDS, and that makes me a tinfoil wearing hat nut job. That means Ron. I hate to break the bad news to you, but you're a tinfoil wearing hat nut job. Okay? And Jeff Aston, I don't want to put you down any, but if you looked into anything that's going on in the world, you might just be a tinfoil wearing nut hat. Okay, nut job. And to anybody else that's in here, you might fall into that category too. Well, unfortunately, if you've actually looked around what's going on around you, then you would realize the people yell conspiracy theorists at you and call you this stuff, they're sound asleep.
yeah, it's like, as you always say, to turn the truth upside down. So the most awake, the most intelligent people are the idiots. They are the nut jobs,
Oh yeah,
and the sleepwalkers are the smart ones.
yeah, I know. Tell me about it, right? They're so smart they're headed to their own fate and don't even know it. So
Oh yeah.
but I figured that DVS did have the right. Okay,
Hmm.
I did figure that he did have the right name because he's calling himself VVS. So I thought two V's must stand for very, very. Then the
Hmm.
S would stand for sleep.
Well,
And no, Jeff Aston, I'm not calling you names. I'm just saying if you understand the truth of what's going on in the world, then sleeping people will tell you you're nuts.
yeah. I wish I could have some of them dreams, but they're fucking on, I tell you. Man,
Oh, well, you know
that was
what?
in some dream.
Dave's bringing up the blatant false shooting in Texas. Well, that's because they're after our guns. They got to
Yeah.
continue with their stage show and their, and there's so many people asleep that if you put it on TV and said somebody walked in this place and shot this many, all the people that are sound asleep say, "Oh my God, again!"
Yeah. Guns are so scary.
We got to ban guns. We got to remove the guns because I know it's the gun's fault. Because the gun had
Yeah.
to load itself and walk down the street on its own legs it don't have. And it had to
Yeah.
point itself with the hands and arms it don't have.
Banning guns is just going to stop good people from having them. Like, the bad people will still, they won't care if they're illegal or not.
That's basically the real corrupt is the bad people. Well, let's see. Who's running your world? The bad people, the people that don't want you to have guns.
Yeah.
Okay? So here you are. The bad people still have their guns and you're a compliance. You're being compliant with that law that says you're not
Mm.
allowed to defend yourself or own a gun. It's sort of like, it is illegal, Jay, to kill yourself. That is against a
Right.
man-made law.
No, I
Uh,
didn't know that.
yeah, here in America, it is illegal to kill yourself, and if you attempt to kill yourself and fail, they'll use a law called the Baker Act to lock you up for 72 hours, okay, and have you mentally
Right.
evaluated. Then they can hold you for longer than that, depending on the evaluation, right?
Wow.
Because it's illegal for you to kill yourself, but it's not illegal for that thug cop to shoot you. Okay? It's
No.
not illegal for your government to send you overseas with a gun in your hands to shoot and kill
Mhm.
other people for them.
No,
Okay? It's just illegal for you to kill yourself. I think if they could revive you after you killed yourself, they would revive you, just put you behind bars. Because
that's what they'd love to do.
they need some more slave laborers so that they can make their products for nothing.
That's the thing, man. You know, with power, like it's the worst people are the ones who want to rule over others. You know, the worst people want to control other people. So, you know, the people who are attracted to control and power and getting to the top are going to be the worst people. And these people, they would rather control you to such an extent that you're not even allowed to kill yourself. That's what that's their prerogative. That's their choice.
Well, yeah, because these people at the top, they actually, they actually believe they're gods. They actually
Yeah,
believe they're our creator, that they own us.
yeah. I mean, I can understand why they're able to, shape people in their image through TV and social engineering. You know, they can shape a lot of people, make them think what they want them to think. That's like shaping them through. They think they're a creator. They're shaping the masses, and they're believing what they want them to believe. They have so much power over the material world. You know, they can do like a lot of destruction to it. So I mean, these guys, they do have like the power of something, like some divine entity in a way, or
Oh yeah, well,
satanic entity.
yeah, you're correct, David. Which they get their power from most of the people.
Oh yeah,
Unfortunately, I was listening to Element, one of his rants. He hasn't done nothing in a while, but Element's a pretty smart man. I like the guy.
yeah,
He's really awake to the truth, and he's pretty
yeah,
damn smart, and he's saying it just as it is. And and I hate to say it, but we have an epidemic of stupid, and I can't
yeah.
fix stupid. I can point you to the water or lead you to the water, but I can't make you drink it. I could give you
No,
food, but I can't make you eat it. So, you're not fixing stupid. And unfortunately, we have a bad epidemic of stupid because stupid
oh,
is the new smart.
yeah,
Unreal. It's just like people who want to believe that we have 50 something genders. I mean,
yeah. Well,
really? How do you believe that? How do you even fall for that?
it's like people who want to believe that there's no difference between having two parents or one parent in the household for a child.
Oh, yeah, well, nowadays, see, the woman can also be the dad. She can play both
Yeah,
roles because, after all, she's a woman. She can do no wrong. She's never wrong, even when she is. Okay? And she has this great ability to be a man and a woman all together.
she can do everything the man can and more.
Exactly. So, see, she just puts on her fake face, and now she's a man. She's the daddy. Then she takes off her
Yeah,
fake face and has her other fake face on, and now she's the mom. And we don't see no problem with it because, after all, she's the one that had the baby. So the baby
yeah.
belongs to her because she had it. So
Oh
I
yeah.
always wondered, how did she have it if she didn't have the male semen to fertilize that
Well,
egg? Oh, she's Virgin Mary? Oh. So we
yeah,
have Virgin Mary, Virgin Jenny, Virgin Jane, Virgin Cindy, Virgin whatever. I mean, get over it.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a very good point. Like, it's a great point. Just it goes to show the extent to which fathers have been sort of attacked, slandered, and demonized in the West.
Well, but this is the sad thing is we have male shaming openly in your face for what, 20, 30 years now. Easy. And a
Yeah,
woman can't be wrong. A woman has the right to change her mind, and a guy don't. Okay? There's so many double standards. And TFL itself was a taboo topic. And it was
yeah,
forbidden to talk about according to our society because it's TFL. Did anybody ever watch the new Zeitgeist that came out? 2019 Zeitgeist. I watched that yesterday and I shared it with Jay here. I even shared it with Joe. and hopefully Joe will be coming along here shortly. I figured he'd be late again, but that's all right. But if you watch that new 2019 Zeitgeist, they
Mhm.
did tell a lot of truth in there, and I loved it. They actually talked about the social engineering and how these clouds are here trying to dodge and go around it.
I haven't got to see the whole thing yet, to be honest with you, man.
Well,
Um,
just do it on your time. But I think the
yeah,
first half of it, the first hour and a half, that to me was probably the best part of it.
mhm,
They tell you what our world could really be like. Okay, and
right,
the one thing I agreed with is they talked about getting rid of money completely. That we didn't need money. That there's
yeah,
enough of everything that if we do things right and we work together, that we really could have a world where everybody had everything they needed and everybody be happy. This fighting and these wars is all wars and fighting is doing is to profit the people at the top and keep the system
yeah,
going. It's just like all your manufacturing. I mean, look at the graveyards of vehicles that was never sold. If they couldn't sell a new vehicle, the public wasn't allowed to have it. So they put it in vacant land.
mhm,
And then that adds up every year to thousands and thousands and thousands of vehicles that were never drove that was manufactured brand new because they couldn't make a dime on it. Look at all the computers and all the stuff that's been manufactured that there's literally hundreds and hundreds of millions of shit just piled, you know.
yeah,
And we could do away with all that waste. There's a lot of the stuff that they did say in the zeitgeist is absolutely true. But nobody
yeah.
wants that because you know why? That means they couldn't be above you, Jay.
Well, yeah, that's it. Like, that's the main reason I think money should be done away with is because it's linked to so many people's self-esteem. We have so many suicides related to money, and we have so many people, thinking they're losers or they're worth less than somebody else because
Yeah,
they have
because
less money.
well, yeah, that's it. People get more money, look down on other people, and have this ego boost and think they're something they're not, and do unto
Yeah,
others that they don't want done unto themselves. While you have
right.
people starving, that there is no excuse for people starving, we justify it and turn our heads and look the other way. See,
Hmm.
so we're justifying anything that's completely wrong and evil and sick. So I look at the reality as we almost live in a world that's almost, I would say, what, 85% psychopaths?
Yeah, over half at least anyway. I may be a bit more optimistic than that, but you could be right. Yeah,
Well, I just look at
close
it
to
for what
yeah,
it really is. And when
yeah,
you think about it, that's the type of world we're living in. Nobody
yeah,
wants to be told they're a nut job or a psychopath. But if you look at the behaviors in society and what we're condoning
right.
and how we just keep putting up with it, they
Yeah,
have wars so they can destroy buildings so they can put more people to work building them buildings all over again.
yeah. It has to be a vast number for them to be able to get away of doing so much of this evil shit, right?
Well,
It has to be something like
there's
85.
an old saying that's true, and this one always made me laugh, but it is true. Okay, if you killed 20 people, 40 people, 100 or 150 people, you would be
Hmm.
classified as a serial killer. And man's after you, man. They get you, they're going to lock you up, throw away the key, they'll put you on death row, okay? But if you
Yeah,
kill a few billion people, there ain't nobody locking you up. By God, you're a god now.
yeah.
And
Fucking
I know that sounds crazy, but that is the
rotten.
society we're living in. If you could kill a couple billion people, you'd be looked up at as a god. You'd be praised. You wouldn't be locked up. How do you think the Rothschild
Yeah.
dynasty got where they're at? You know how many people the Rothschild dynasty is responsible for killing? I mean, after all, they
Mm.
financed and helped start every war we've had, and they financed
Yeah.
both sides. So you add
Not
up
to,
all the people's killed in World War I, all the people's killed in World War II, And I ain't even
Yeah.
counting all the other little wars all over the world we've had. I'm just going to use those world wars for an example, right? Add up them
Yeah.
people and then take a look and follow the money. You're going to go back to the Rothschild dynasty and you're going to find out that they were financing both sides of everything.
Yeah, not to mention even with the likes of abortion, they fund abortion. How many people does that kill a year? A lot,
Well, yeah,
right?
because, abortion's awful. I mean, the abortion, they want the abortion to be there because, having birth is a terrible thing for society because you're going to have somebody that ain't got the proper genes. Uh,
But let me say something about that. The gene thing's a really complex subject here. You're like sometimes I think they're intentionally sort of breeding the dumber people, right? Because what do they call smart people? They call them nerds. They call them geeks. They call them uncool.
oh, yeah, I know.
So I
They
mean,
made labels for smart people, right? You're a geek, you're a nerd.
yeah. So I mean, if it was eugenics, the smart people would be the ones who are praised as the coolest, right? That's how I view it. They'd be the respected ones. If it was eugenics, I think it's just eugenics. Myself, it's like dumbing people down and sort of creating a slave, a dumb slave people.
Well, I know what Ron is saying, and I would say more, but in a way, Ron's right. I've already
Oh,
lost a few channels. And if I was to start talking what Ron would love to hear me talk, I wouldn't be here.
oh,
I couldn't even get my message out to anybody because they just shut me down, man. Yeah, they didn't even
oh.
fucking block my IP, so I couldn't create a new one. I'd have to go get a different server and a different IP.
I have to read that comment afterwards, Ron. I'm intrigued.
Okay, so the reality is I'm gonna be careful, and I'm just gonna tell you, go with names and faces. I do understand it's not the entire the entire Jewish population, but I also do understand there's a lot of them people in high positions. Okay, and I'm not going to say really anymore about that
Oh,
particular group of people because then I'd have to talk about that particular country we're not allowed to boycott. And then if I had to talk about that particular country we're not allowed to boycott, then I start getting into some water here that I've already been censored without saying it. I can always remember, but I still don't mind calling out the Rothschilds because after all, I'm only talking about monetary rights, and they are bankers, right? So I'm only
right.
talking about money, right?
I think money is one of the most interesting topics. I haven't really heard it talk too much about, though.
Well, I have actually broke down the monetary system, and I think if you went back and watched the very first Zeitgeist, that they did a great job of explaining the monetary system to people. And I think if you understand the dollar was created out of debt, the interest
Yeah.
was never printed. So they created the dollar and then charged you interest to pay back, but never printed the interest. So this way you could
Yeah.
never pay them back so that they could get their hands on your house and your car and your land. This way they could steal everything from you.
Yeah.
It was nothing but a big scam from day one.
Oh, yeah. And that's why they have the pyramid on the dollar bill, simplifying this is a Ponzi scheme, this is a pyramid scheme.
Well, they love that because they get to flash it in your face. And most people are too dumb to even know what that means.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's so in your face on your money.
Okay, I got to be a smartass to Ron. Okay, you're right. Don't use that J word. Go ahead and use that Z word, which spells the same results. Because they're going to know what you're talking about. So I got to say, we're in a situation now where they actually got people where they want them. And it frustrates the
Yeah.
hell out of me how we could be in 2019 and people are still hurling the words conspiracy theorist.
Hmm.
And now you got, Jay's 20, 21 years old over here, and he's in
Yeah.
United Kingdom, and I don't think Jay's going to be hollering conspiracy theorist.
No, I think conspiracy theorist is just a cop out. It's like an ad hominem. You use it whenever you don't have an argument to refute what they're saying. So it's like, that guy's a loser or whatever. Whenever a TFLer gives you a good argument for why he's living TFL and why it's not his fault and when he applies to men, they call him a loser. In the same way, a conspiracy theorist is, or a guy speaking a lot of truths, just call it a nut or a conspiracy theorist. It's just to shut you up.
Yeah, yeah, it is. Well, that's really what it is we want to use, what do you want to call it, ad harmony attacks and shaming tactics to make you seem like you're nuts to other people so that you will
Yeah.
become nervous and you'll want to fit in. And I've always told people this: don't worry, we can bring
Right.
in the digger and we can dig the hole deep enough and big enough. You're all going to fit. I don't know why you're worried, man. We got plenty of rooms for your bodies. We even have furnaces we can reduce the body size down to ashes. And we can even
Right.
get more in then. So don't worry, there's plenty of room. And you might get to
Yeah.
actually be above somebody. Whether if I drop your body on top of somebody else's or I pour your ashes over the top of somebody else's, you'll at least be over that person. So see, you're gonna still get your want. You're gonna get to be above somebody else, and there's plenty of room.
Bill, do you think a lot of people are like asleep, or do you think there's maybe a lot more awake than we know about? It's just people who are awake have no fight in them, so they just say,
I think a
"Well,
lot of
it's
people
depressing."
that I think we actually are more awake than people realize, but I think they're
Yeah, I think.
also afraid to speak out for fear of losing their job because they need their
Mhm.
job because that's their living. Okay?
Yeah, makes sense.
And then you have a percentage that are afraid to say anything because they don't want their friends to look down on them and think differently of them and lose their friends. So I think you have a combination of both things going on. So I would
Hmm.
say that there are more people awake than what we think there is. But what they
Yeah,
don't realize is they're actually not helping. Because the
yeah,
reality is we have to express ourselves. We have to become angry.
right.
And we have to stop the division. And we absolutely have to have care back. Because without care, you're never going to care about somebody else. And it's always going to be about your selfish self.
Hmm.
And you're not going to rise up as one. Because where do they get their power from? Us people
Yeah.
globally doing nothing about.
Well, what I find in the truther movement is there are a lot of people out there who don't care about other people, but then they justify that by suggesting, well, the powers that be don't care about me, so human nature must be not to care about other people. So
Yeah, well, I
nobody
want
cares for me. I'm not going to care for anybody.
exactly. Well, I agree with you there, but I want to address Ron again because Ron
Oh
says we
yes.
need to expose Zionism to get to the root cause. No, because
Right.
that's not going to change people. You could point the root cause out all day long, Ron.
Hmm.
They're just going to hurl harmony attacks at you. They're going to tell you you're nut. They're not going to believe you, and they're
Hmm.
definitely not going to stand together. Okay?
Right.
No, that's not going to change it. You can point out the root cause to your blue in the face. I can dance around the root cause and tell the people the root cause, but I have the same experience that Ron's going to have going right to the freaking cutthroat. He's going to run into the same problem. The
Right.
problem is we've lost care.
That's the problem.
Okay, that is the biggest problem out of everything.
Yeah.
Because it's not that Ron is wrong about what Ron is saying. It's the
Hmm.
fact is until we get care back.
Yeah.
I mean, until we get that back,
Yeah.
you can point it out all day long.
Mm.
It's not going to change anything.
Right. And it's amazing how many people who are awake don't even realize how important the care thing is to the equation. Very few people, apart from yourself, will talk about that. I think Mark Passio does as well, but so little.
Yeah, well, I know what Ron is saying, and I have to
Nice.
agree overall with him, but I don't totally agree. I think the
Mm.
Jewish people have been purposely put into a lot of high positions to take the fall. I
Yeah.
do agree that we have a lot of Jewish people in the elite. I do agree with that totally. We have the kids, Khazars or whatever you want to call them, and I think that's your upper branch right there. So it isn't that I totally disagree with Ron. Okay, it's just I think a lot of the Jew population has been used as the
Mhm.
scapegoat, and if you
Yeah. I mean,
continue to use them as the scapegoat, then it keeps you from knowing who's really pulling the strings at the very top. You know,
right.
And so, for all we know, it could be an alien life form. I mean, I
Mm.
can't say it is, and I'm not sure the hell I ain't gonna say it ain't.
Yeah.
Okay?
Nobody knows.
We don't know. You know, we could all have a very valid guess by looking into stuff and seeing what's going on and doing our
Right.
research. And I think that Ron is really close, like I believe I'm really close, like I believe Warren's really close. You know, I've been
Mhm.
probably one of, not of course not the only, but one of the most censored peoples on YouTube for probably
Yeah.
7 or 8 years now. And I'll say that
Mm.
honestly because of the fact of some of the censorship that I've received long ago that nobody else was receiving out of censorship.
Yeah.
Okay? I realized at one point that I did an average of 10,000 views per video per day, and I actually had this going on. And then I went from that to where I'm at now. And
Mhm.
when I tell truth, I'm attacked. And I don't know how many people remember. Years back, I actually got a phone number for YouTube, and there was actually a way of calling them, but nobody knew it. And I got my
Right.
hands on that number, and I actually called them and did a video with me
Hmm.
calling them. Oh my God,
Yeah.
did they hate me after that? Oh, did they hate me after that? So, I have
Yeah.
some things that happened back in the day, and I know in my heart that it was actually a Rothschild that came at me
Hmm.
after Google got their hands on YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay? And I don't care what people tell me. I know it in my heart that it was the real McCoy. So I think that's
Right.
where I ended up getting a lot of censorship that I can remember Dabu7 a couple years ago making a
Hmm.
video. This has been a couple years ago. He made a video showing the brand new censorship that they were going to be doing on people. And look how bad the censorship is getting. And he read this article, it was brand new. And I fell out of my chair. Everything he was reading that was brand new censorship, bullshit. All that shit had already been happening to me for years.
Yeah.
But it was brand new to all these other people.
Yeah.
But it
I
was
mean,
never brand new to me.
you're onto the real McCoy whenever you're getting censored much more than all of the other troopers are.
So
You know.
that was a big like slap in the face for a lot of people because I recognize that censorship. Oh my God, did I recognize it? Because I've been living it for all these years, but yet here they are. The problem is people's ego. You get up here like Jeff C did. He got up here preaching the same shit that so many people were preaching for so long before him. And then after a year's time, he gets a little bit fucking popular, and he's giving himself credit for the only person that's ever exposed this stuff. And it was like, what a joke. His ego fucking
Yeah.
inflated so bad that he was the king and he's the only one. And I was like, wow, what a nut job.
Yeah. That's it. I mean, that is honestly, I think, a big cause for many mental health problems is
Yeah.
caring about the self too much.
Well, you got your ego right there, and I think, Jeff Ashton wrote that Mark Passio was right. If people knew the difference between right and wrong and did right regardless of consequences, the elite
Mhm.
or any alien would have no power. Well, that is correct. But
Yeah.
see, that still goes back to starting with care. Because if you don't care, if you have no empathy towards others at all,
Yeah.
see, with no empathy, you still, this is why I would want to say, I'd go as high as saying at least 80% of our world's population are psychopaths.
Well,
And I know a lot of people will say, well, that's completely nuts. Well, no, it's not. Let's look at the reality. We're living in a world where everything's a game, a sport, a competition. In the workplace, it's one up somebody else to get ahead of somebody else, to be above somebody else. You're willing to step on somebody, even if you destroy their life, to get your own selfish gain.
hmm,
That says you have no empathy for other people. That says you're a psychopath by itself.
right. you know, I was reading a psychological paper back in like 2011, which suggested that half the people today, have as much empathy as the bottom 25% of people in 1979. So that means, half the people today are as bad as the bottom quarter whenever you were a kid, Bill.
Yes, that's correct.
and
And what do we got? Jada here says who makes up the freaking police departments and the armies? The people do. Yes, right. And the majority of people are not rich. You know, I've never blamed the entire population of Jews, and anybody says it's the entire population of Jews, to me, is done moved down the wrong road.
I agree. Yeah.
That would be
I
like
mean,
saying it's the entire population of the Spanish or the entire population of the white people or the entire population of the black people.
right.
See, you're calling a population out by their culture or their Muslim or their German or their by what they are rather than names and faces. And you're looking at what's in your face of people in power, but you're not looking at the fact that a lot of these people that are using Jewish, calling themselves Jewish, ain't even Jewish. They're
right.
fraudulent. Okay?
Yes.
And when you look at that and you look at the whole, what I see is Jewish people have been set up to be the pawns.
Yeah. I mean, you know that Rothschild's family you talk so much about?
Yeah, that's my
You know,
favorite topic there. That's
you
nice
know,
little Rothschild dynasty family.
yeah. I mean, all of them like have blue eyes, right? And they're got like really light colored hair. They are not Jewish traits. Okay, Jewish traits are like dark skin, black hair, brown eyes. That's what you get in Israel, the desert. So I mean, these people are more white than anything else, I believe. They have blue eyes and all the rest of it.
Well, that's just it. Well, if you ever go up the pyramids, you find out the Rothschild dynasty isn't at the top, but they are not far from the top. They're above the military. They're above almost everybody, right? So when
Right.
you look at that alone, and you realize that the Rothschild dynasty owns the Federal Reserve in the United States, okay,
Mhm.
and you really look at the truth here, and you get right down to it, I don't give a shit if Rothschild says they're a Jew. It does not mean they're actually real Jews. So many lies have been told for so many hundreds of years that unless you was alive hundreds of years ago to actually be in the right spot to know what really took place, you're going to go off everything that's been said when the lies have been being told for hundreds of years, and you're going to dig through all them lies and say you know the truth. I say you know what you believe is the truth, but it don't mean you're accurate. You can only be as accurate as what you can back, and you can honestly back what you're seeing going on from what research we can do, but we cannot go back long before our lifetimes and say that we're 100% concretely correct without sticking your foot in your mouth. And I don't like to say that to anybody, but the reality is, unless you was there to see it, you can't prove it was or wasn't. You need to sit on a fence. You know, I seen a documentary, and this has probably been 8, 9 years ago, and I even talked with Warren about this. And in this documentary, they were talking about the Western days. You know, the days of horse and buggy. And back in that day, the men actually had all the pick. And the women had no pick. The women was trying to impress the man. And why was the woman trying to impress the man? Because they felt the man was the provider. And if he's going to be the provider to take care of, then he had the right to pick the one he was going to take care of. And of course, we know everything's been flipped upside down on its head. But until this day, that documentary disappeared. I can't find it again for the life of me. And I wish I'd had the ability to record it back then, because I would have. Okay?
Yeah.
But this is what they were talking, and I think it was pretty accurate truth. But, you know, I could argue with Warren all day about this. Because Warren was determined that, no, gender roles was in your DNA, and it's always been this way, and I disagree. And I'll always disagree with that statement from Warren. But, you know, that doesn't make Warren my enemy. I love the hell out of Warren. We're good friends. Okay? It just means we learn how to disagree to agree to disagree. At one time, I thought I had that type of relationship with Jerry. But Jerry's an egomaniac. And he had a bad habit of doing things behind the scenes. Like coming on Zoom and attacking me on Zoom in the chat box and never sent it to the public.
Right, yeah.
Okay? Not saying what he was actually doing. So he was deceiving the public while he was attacking me. And even when he made his last live stream without me, he told everybody he was tired of me abusing him. And in reality, it was the other way around.
Yeah.
See, so therefore I talk about him openly now, because he deserves to be talked about openly, because he's deceiving people.
Yeah, I think you're right to call him out on that.
Yes, I did. I heard from Steve the other day. And I'm going to say the same thing about Steve Hoka that I typed in my comments section. Steve Hoka has his own personal life. He's doing what he wants to do. And he don't owe nobody to come up on YouTube and make videos. I had to agree with him on that, because if I didn't want to make videos no more, that's my right. If I don't want to speak out no more, that is my right. And if you get mad at me for choosing not to do something no more, then I guess you better get over yourself. I'm not making no monetary gain. This is not my living. I don't want monetary gain for doing what I do. I actually care about people and want what's right for all of us. I really do. And I try to help as many people as I can help. But I'm telling you what, it's not easy to help people, because most people are stupid, dumb, docile, and I hate to say that about them. But they really are. And you can't help people who don't want help. And if you ain't willing to go look for what's going on for yourself to make your own opinion, and I'm not going to shoot you down for making your own opinion, I don't agree with everything Ron's saying. But does that mean I dislike Ron? No, I don't. Ron's been following and been here for a lot of years now. And he has put out a lot of good information. So am I going to slam Ron because I don't agree with him in certain areas? No. No more than he would slam me. No more than Warren and I don't always agree. No more than Steve Hope and I will always agree. No more than anybody will always agree. Because in real life, people do not always agree with each other. But that is not a reason to hate on somebody. That's not a reason to fight somebody. That's not a reason to dislike somebody. That is called Ron is his own individual human being with his own belief system. I am mine, Jay is his, Joe is his. All of us are different, and Jeff Ashton's his own human being. It's called individuality. And we have to
Mm.
accept that about each other. Because if we can't accept that about each other, how could we ever work together for the same cause? That's part of trying to get care back in people, is to understand. But it's hard sometimes because, hey, I loved the hell out of Jerry when I was working with him. The last 4 or 5 months of working with Jerry became living hell for me because Jerry's ego flated up and it started getting out of control. He said things that were just completely off the wall. I mean, the man was willing to go. He didn't do it, thank God. He had military affairs in his town. The people who put on these false flags out of the military units, and they were in his town. And he talked about walking into the bar, and if he saw them in there, spitting in one of their faces and hitting record right after he spit it in the guy's face, so that they would attack him. And then he was going to come back and post that up as, look, they attacked a handicapped man. That was as wrong and as corrupt as anybody could ever get. I don't care if you think that platoon's behind false flags or not, unless you can prove the man you spit in the face of actually was doing this. You would be in the wrong because that's going out of your way to make trouble for somebody, then coming back and lying to the world and using your false legs, your handicap, as a crutch. That set me off when he said that to me. And he was dead serious. It wasn't like he was joking with me. He was actually dead serious and he was going to do that. I was thankful that he didn't do it, but it did piss me off. He actually went down there in his vehicle when the military was there and put that up on video and was getting smart with one of these guys that was in the military uniform. And he filmed himself doing it. Okay, so for me, I was like, when he told me that and he was dead serious, that offended me. It offended me for the fact that that is just right out wrong. And then you're going to use your handicap and lie to the world and say how they attacked you? See, this is the type of stuff that was going on behind the scenes, and I become very angry over about that. And, you know, and then his ego was just so overinflated, man. He started actually looking down on me. And I could see it in his body language. He was literally, with his body language, I seen it. He was looking down on me. He looked down on a lot of people after he got his viral video off of 153. And he was looking down on them. Why are these people talking about this family or that family and our history? And he built himself up to a point where he actually thought he was more intelligent than the majority of all of his followers and was looking down on me. So it became harder and harder to work with Jerry. So when Jerry actually made that video and lied to the world and said I was abusing him, I was fine with that because I couldn't work with him anymore anyhow. I'm not going to work with somebody who has the same mindset as the fucking elite. That's willing to go right out and do wrong on the people for their own damn glory. See, and this is what his ego done for him. This is why I'm so set against people who run on ego. Because your ego corrupts you, just like power and greed does, and then you're going to back up your ego for your own damn self-worth, and what does that do for everybody else? I think Jerry was selectively awake. He had a lot of knowledge in a lot of areas, and he was awake to certain parts in certain areas. But he was definitely selective awake, Ron, because Jerry, when it came to TFL or the Manosphere, no, we were woman haters. That was one of his other attacks on me. That I was a woman hater and that I had mental issues and I needed
Mm.
to go seek help. Okay? So that right there tells me he was never awake to the Manosphere. Then him and Rhonda tried that selfish BS to use Bill, you're a white knight for men. And they didn't say it in a good way. That came from both of Rhonda and Jerry. They were using that as a shaming tactic. I was supposed to be embarrassed or ashamed for standing up
Yeah.
for men. Well, who do you know that's standing up for men in this world? Honestly, everybody's putting men down, including other men. Okay, so no. You know, or I fucking know. I told him, you can call me a white knight for men all you want. And I'm proud of it. And I don't think they appreciated that. Because I'm actually a white knight for everything that's right for all of us, men and women alike. And if you don't like that, well, you know where the sun don't shine, that's where you can put it.
Yeah, you're doing the right thing, Bill. You're doing the right thing.
So, you know, the reality is this, you know, the care that I've always had my whole life has allowed me to do things for men and women. It's never been a gender thing. Okay? I do stuff for people from my heart and didn't even want no money. You know, when I fixed a woman's car who had a battery and I was driving a yellow cab and I picked her up at a parts store and I took her back to where she lived in her car and she had this car battery. And I says, so you say the battery's out in your car? She says, yeah. And I said, so what makes you think it's out? And she told me, and I says, so when you turn the key, does it go, or does it go click, click, click? And she says, well, no, it goes, Then I knew the battery wasn't out at all because it was cranking over. So then I told her, well, when we get here to your place, can I look at your car? She says, yeah. So I got out of the cab when I got there, and she opened her door, I unlocked the door, popped the hood, I opened the hood, and I did a little bit of looking, and I found the issue. And I fixed the issue. It was a very simple issue. And I told her, get in your car and turn the key. She got in the car and turned the key and it started right up. She still had the new battery over on the curb. She never seen somebody that was so happy in all of her life. And I told her, now you can take your car and take your battery and go back and get your money back because you don't need the battery. And she was offering me money immediately. And I told her, no, I don't want no money. I said, the only thing I need from you is what's on that meter of the yellow cab because that's my run sheet for the company. Outside of that, I don't want any money for fixing your car. And so she paid the meter and I left and she was happy as could be. And my payment was a smile on her face. I was able to help somebody, and that's all that counted to me. Now, in today's society, you know what they tell me it means, Jay?
What?
That means I'm weak.
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of like you in the sense, I love seeing people smile. Like, oh, it's one of the nicest things you can
And I'm like,
experience.
well, if that makes me weak, then that makes you a psychopath, doesn't it?
Yeah, but then they'll say, "Oh, but bro, my religion, atheism taught me that the selfish gene theory and natural selection, suggests that only people who can't survive on their own help other people. The only reason you're helping other people is because you need them. That's what they'll fucking say, and it's
Yeah,
twisted,
yeah,
it's wrong. I
yeah.
don't agree with it, but
It's
that is how
twisted,
I
it's messed up, and that's exactly what they're doing. And what are we
Yeah.
going to do about that? Really, nothing, right?
No, I mean that selfish gene theory, like that book was complete BS, and it was it was designed to sort of justify everything happening in the society that we see today.
Yeah, that's what. Well, that's the real kick in the butt. That's one of the
Right.
reasons I sent over Zeitgeist 2019 to you, because
Hmm.
at least the first hour and a half, oh my God, I loved it. It was so much real, actual, real truth. Okay, and
Yeah.
and it's just hilarious because you think of it's not hilarious in the fact of what it is, but it is the God's honest truth. They're lying now, lying. And I find so many people do not like Zeitgeist. Oh, and I figured out the most of the reason they don't like it is because it's actual truth.
Yeah.
They're
Well,
being offended by the truth is what's happening.
yeah. I mean, so many people have, said in the TFL community, like, I can't watch Bill Greathouse's videos; are too depressing, man. They upset me. What he talks about makes me sad, and I think, I think, well, ignorance is bliss. Is that what you think? So whenever in 30 years' time, whenever you're, you have no rights, you're living in some tiny apartment, maybe so many people are dead, you don't have woman in your life enough, well, does that not hurt your feelings too? No. That might hurt your feelings more whenever that happens to you.
And what they don't realize is through knowledge and through care and recognizing right from wrong, that people could change what's going on. See, we have the power as the people of this world to stop this crap from going on and to change what's going on. But see, we're all hooked up in the selfish me. We're all hooked up in the game, you know,
Right.
and I'm better than you because I have a better job than you, and I have more money, and I have a $400,000 home, and that's guys. I got a mansion, okay, and I have a Rolls Royce and a Porsche and a blah and a blah, okay, and so here you are. Here's our mentality. Our mentality, is I'm better than you. I'm above you because I have more man-made things than you do. It's retarded.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. You aren't going to carry any of them possessions beyond the grave. You can't pass any of that on. None of it.
I
Well,
would
maybe you
rather
can.
see smiles on people's faces and see people
Yeah.
getting along with each other. I really would. I would
Yeah.
love to see the genders come back together again, but that's gone. That's history. We sat there for
No.
years shaming men, and placing the woman above the man, and placing the woman above the man, and creating
Yeah.
all these double standards, and putting her way up here as a goddess. And that's the thing, even with Monday Forever Long Monday, you know,
Mm.
he uses the name because that is symbolism of the moon, which leads
Yeah.
you back to the moon goddess. So really, the guy's making a mockery out of the manosphere because he's
Right.
worshiping a woman right in their face. And
Right in the face.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
He's actually worshiping a woman right in the manosphere's face, and they can't
Yeah.
see
That guy on Turd Flinging Monkey, they should make some videos together, man.
it. It's like turd flinging monkey. Man, okay? Turd
Yeah.
flinging monkey. Man flinging turds. Propaganda. Lies. He's not
Yeah.
here for you. He's here for
That's
that
right.
monetary stuff that he's putting in his pocket. He don't care about you. And Monday, he don't care about you neither. He's actually made more of a mockery out of you than turn flinging monkey did. Because Monday is using moon worship day, moon worshiping, which leads back to the goddess. So basically, the man's worshiping women,
Mhm.
calling women goddesses, and right in the manosphere's faces, he talks about INCEL and men never being able to get a woman in their life and blah, 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 blah. Okay, well, the guy's making a mockery out of you.
Yeah, I always thought, Turtle Flinger Monkey and FA Monday, they all had very strange names. Like, the names were kind of suspicious to me. I couldn't put my finger on it, but I just thought, where did they come up with these weird names? These names are
Because
not
they
fucking
were
normal.
really telling people who they was.
Yeah,
But when you're
that's it.
asleep, you don't understand, you don't look into. Okay? With Turd Flinging Monkey, it was so obvious, but most people wouldn't realize that if you read the name backwards, that monkey actually stands for man,
Yeah,
a man.
yeah,
Okay? And the reason it was turd flinging is because what's another word for propaganda? Or bullshit. Lies. See, if you took the word lie, lying to people, you can say bullshit. You can say
mm,
propaganda is the professional name for the media, right? And you come down the
yeah,
line with lies and you have propaganda, lies, bullshit, which bullshit is what? A turd. Okay? See, so it's really another form of telling you who they are right in your face without saying it
yeah.
physically to you. And it's up to you to figure it out. And meanwhile, they're making a mockery out of you.
And even like if you go to watch these guys' videos, like I tell some people, watch these guys' videos back to back, and you'll get the same vibe from both of them. Like, I mean, both of these guys, they give me that same type of emotion. Just I don't know, from the way they're talking or what they're talking about, the sound of the voice. They're
Well,
very,
yeah.
very similar.
And well, it goes back to the original narrative that the elite always wanted. This is what it's about, really. It's about keeping the problems in our world alive and healthy. These problems that we're all experiencing was created by the people at the top. Okay? This was deliberately created, handed down to us. These are man created problems on man. And these guys' jobs is to keep their problems alive and well. And they're
Yeah,
paid good monetary gain for themselves to keep the problem alive and well. And this is what most people, I don't know, they don't get it. That's why in my last video,
no,
I brought up the article, the video I did this evening, a few hours ago before the show. I come up here and I did a video at Blue Skies Media's last video that he's going overseas to find a woman, right?
right?
And I went and brought back up the very article that Monday Forever Alone Monday did. And I went through the
Mhm.
list of the countries again right in her face.
Yeah,
Okay? And I put it right in her face. And that's when I gave VVS his new name. Very,
hmm.
very asleep. VVS, very, very asleep.
Yeah. I mean, I really don't see how you can't get this through your thick skulls, guys.
You're this far along and you're this far along in what's going on in the world, and you're still going to be in denial. You're still going to turn your head because you're afraid of not fit men, or you're afraid
Right.
of losing your job. I forfeited a job for what I do. I
Yeah.
had feds at my door for what I do.
That would have scared me off for sure.
So when I figured what I forfeited a job, was blackballed in the area I lived for what I do, and had feds at my freaking door and military across the road putting green light through my window and scrambling my Skype signal, putting scare
Yeah.
tactics on me because I'm up here on YouTube speaking out.
Mhm.
Okay, just like censorship that I had that nobody else had going on, and nobody would believe me. And I don't,
Mhm.
personally, I don't give a fuck if you don't believe me. I really don't give a flying fuck if you don't believe me. Because you ain't
Yeah.
living in my life and you wasn't experiencing it. And if you was here to see it and witness it with your own eyes, then you'd have a different fucking different tone of voice about what I tell you. See, this is why I don't give a fuck what you think. Because what you think don't mean shit to me, because I actually care about what's going on. And I don't lie to you. I tell you the truth. Well, I don't believe you. I don't give a fuck if you believe me or not.
You're a lot more better than most of your critics, Bill. Like, they have to make up lies about you, slander you, call
Well,
you names.
that's what I caught with VDS when I actually went back and I went over to his channel because Wolf Martin's in here, and he's the first guy that brought this to my attention. And I thank Wolf Martin for telling me this. But I went over there because I had already been on VDS's channel all 3 or 4 months ago, and I was watching one of his live streams, and I typed several comments to him over and over, and he answered everybody else but me. He ignored me, ignored me, ignored me. And I knew that he was deliberately ignoring me, so I left. And I never went back to his channel again. Okay, but I also never attacked him. I never said anything to anybody. Then, when Wolf Martin told me this, I went to his channel and I listened to a live stream. And I heard these words come out of his own mouth. And it was based on commenters. So other people that come over and listen to my videos, they played selective hearing. And they told only what they wanted to tell. But then I don't give a fuck if they don't play selective hearing. Because VDS could come to my channel and listen to what I'm saying and hear with his own ears. But because the guy hates somebody he don't even know, he's disliking somebody he don't even know. And I think he used Steve Hoka. He come up on YouTube, and Steve Hoka, he used as a crutch to get people to himself.
To get subs, right? Yeah, kissed his ass, then
exactly.
Yeah.
And now he's throwing Steve Hoka under the bus. Okay.
Because he's got more subs than him.
I don't give a fuck. See, that just tells you, he showed this guru, fucking dating artist, blah, 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 who he says he disagrees with, but he's putting this in his videos saying, this guy said my name. So you know what it's about to him. It's about the fame. This guy's actually after the fame. So now because he's got these subs, he's let his head swell up. He's another Jerry. And his ego's flying high. He don't even know what censorship is. He's never experienced it. He's just an idiot. Okay? Well, I hate to say it. He's a TFLer and an idiot. And then he's sound asleep to the root cause. So I just took his name and said, well, this is just the name he's using. VDS. Very, very asleep.
Yeah. Or he might be more awake than he lets on, but he's not going to talk about that stuff because it would be bad for the channel, right?
Then he's then he's still VDS. He's very, very stupid.
Yeah, because I think maybe you're right. Like I think his end goal is subscribers and popularity. Maybe he hopes to get some money out of the channel. Maybe some girl will watch his videos and feel sorry for him. Maybe get a date out of it.
Yeah, well, the illusion is over. Sent me that clip to that link to that video about this new group out of Germany tackling the giant YouTube. And so I did the reply on it. And he said, then later on, Illusion says he don't think this is real. Well, I'm sure it's not real. But I played it like it was because the whole narrative was still freaking ass backwards. Because you wasn't going after your real enemy. I understand Google, YouTube is attacking, a lot of people, shutting them down and blah, 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 and the censorship, right? But they're not the ones behind all this. Just like I told people, if you went to the top and let's just one example, go after the Rothschild dynasty. Take the monetary systems away from the bankers and give them back to the people across the world. In doing so, you're going to watch corporations and giants like YouTube or Google fall on their fucking face.
Yeah. That's a good point. They run out of money.
You're going to hit them where it hurts. Start going after your real enemy. What do you know? What they were whining about was the fact that they want fairness and they're demonetizing people and taking their livelihood to make a video away from them. And I'm like, that's because you were here for all the wrong reasons to begin with, idiots.
Yeah.
In all these years that I've been doing this, it's always been from my heart. It's always been because I care. It's never, ever, ever, not even once, been about fame. Even back in the day when I was getting 10,000 views per day for every video. And I was in that chat session with Dwayne Holloway. And him and I went over to this place and Sarah and Karina, I don't know how many of you people were around back then, but I used to call them Dippity Doo and Dippity A, okay? And Sarah and Karina showed up there. And so we're all looking at each other on video cam. We got these little cams going, right? And we're having this conversation. And Sarah and Karina showed up. The first thing out of, I believe it was Sarah that said it, but the first thing out of her mouth was, well, Bill, so how does it feel to be famous? I was like, what the hell are you talking about? She says, oh, don't put me off. You know that you're famous. And I says, no, I'm not. She says, yes, you are. And then about the other time, the other one jumped in, which I believe was Karina, and said, yes, you are. You're all over the internet. There ain't nowhere we can't go. Everybody globally knows you. You're famous. And I said, this is not about that. And then they went quiet on me because that's what it's never been about that. I mean, if it was about that when they censored me down to what you see today, what you seen on my last channel, channel before that, I would have been gone. Why would I be here speaking? Because that was what it was about, right? Wrong.
Right. You were around, so you were so like ahead of the curve, right? You were at YouTube from its inception, so you could have made videos playing video games, reviewing toasters, anything really. You could have picked any topic and you would have had no competition, and you would have blown up and got all the views because you were the only one doing it. Most people are covering the dating scene now because all of them other fields like gaming and toaster reviews are all oversaturated as fuck. There's so many people in it.
That was when I came online with TFL. Men's right activists were already here. They hadn't been here that long. But Paul Elam and men's right activists were already here. And PUA was here, but the dating scene was still very, very not as big. Okay? And I came up with TFL, and I didn't even know that the problem was as global as it was. I knew that it was bad, but I didn't know it was as bad as it was. And I still was not awake to what was going on in the world myself. Okay? My whole goal was researching to find out why this was going on, right?
Right.
In that research, it led me straight to the top of the fucking pyramid. It led me right up to the government, right from that onto the pyramid, onto the bankers. I mean, my research led me to where, wow, when I was waking up to reality, what a big slap in the face, right?
Yeah.
And I actually got very irate and pissed off there for a while, man. And I couldn't believe people this stupid and women were being this stupid. I said some very foul shit out of anger. I mean, some of my first videos, I fucking ripped people a new ass.
Yeah, I think I've watched a few on your channel, Bill 122. That channel.
My original channel was 122460.
I think it's still up, isn't it?
No.
No.
People have you can put that in a YouTube search or Google search and you'll find me, but you're not going to find my channel.
Oh,
you're going to find
the
people who you will still find some of my other videos that some people around YouTube downloaded and re-put up on their channels.
Yeah, I've watched a few of them. They're good.
Okay, you can still find some of my old stuff up here. Okay, because I looked and I see that there's still some people that's got some of my older stuff up. But other than that, no, you don't. The thing is when I was pushed down for a reason. because I was bringing tension globally. It'd be like when Mark Taylor came at me after creating the first True Force Loneliness website. He is the one that created the first website, not Dwayne Holloway. Okay?
Oh.
Dwayne Holloway just took over the site. Mark gave it to him. It was Mark Taylor that designed it. Okay?
Right.
And Mark Taylor called me up after having it. Dwayne didn't even have access into it for the first 3 months. But because Dwayne was better at coding and spelling, Dwayne was the one we picked to have access to it. My spelling stinks, so why would I want to go there, right? So
Right.
Dwayne was the one given access to it. But Mark Taylor called me up about 3.5 months in, before Dwayne even had that. He called me on my home phone and he says, Bill, and I says, what? He says, how the hell did you do this? And I says, do what? He says, this website I created for you guys. I says, what about it? He says, you
Yeah.
got people from all corners of the earth. He says, you got people from all over the world. He says, how did you do that
Yeah.
without mainstream media help?
That's amazing. Like.
And the only thing I could tell him is, I don't know.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm sure it was quite a shock to hear it back 10
Well,
years
it
ago.
wasn't by the time he did that. It really wasn't because, see, at one time YouTube was only 10 minutes long, and you
Yeah.
had an email that came with YouTube. Your own
Right.
personal email, part of your YouTube channel, where people, but you couldn't email anybody else around the internet. Only people on YouTube. Okay, and it was a private email for only people that had a YouTube account, right?
Yeah.
I had people emailing me all the time. I meant freaking. This is where Dimitri was in Ukraine.
Right.
Okay, I got another guy over there where you're at, Andrew. He's over in the United
Yeah.
Kingdom. Okay,
Well,
I got people from fucking all over the world coming at me, so I already knew that it went around the world. And then I thought about what Karina or Sarah had said to me, and Karina, about that everything that it's all over the whole world. Okay, well they were accurate.
yeah.
It was okay, but that
Yeah.
wasn't. I didn't know that was going to happen. Put it that way. My main focus was on researching what was going on, and then speaking out about that and trying to help men.
Yeah.
But in that research, when I started finding what I was finding, then I got caught up into, I want to call it the matrix or whatever. I got caught up into it, and I couldn't help it. I had to research more, and I had to research more, and more, and more. It was like you were hooked on it. I felt like I was Johnny Five from Short Circuit. Input, input,
Yeah.
more, more.
It is quite a story.
And so, but then, if it was about fame or money or fame for me, I would have been gone a long time ago. So anybody with a
Yeah.
half a brain in their head knows it's not about that to me. It never has been.
Oh.
It's always been about I care.
Yeah. I mean, if you were about the fame, then you wouldn't be mentioning the the things that keep getting your channels taken down. You wouldn't talk about. You'd be talking about what VVS and Monday talk about, which is the symptoms and not the root cause. That's how you get your fame. Right there.
Yeah, well, and I wasn't afraid to tackle anything. I tackled every topic, especially dating scene topics. I'd go after them. You know, I had my series that ran for a while called It Happened Again. And I actually
Right.
had other TFLers join me and started making videos that happened again. Okay, and that happened again was based on our male shaming in society, and the men are the ones that are domestic violence, and blah blah blah. Because even to this day, we're all the villains. Men are. Men are
Yeah.
still the villains. You're always at fault. A woman can change her mind and a man can't. The man's
Yeah.
always at fault. He's at fault for everything, and that's even today in 2019.
Right. Yeah.
What do you
Phrases like
guess?
"man up."
Yeah, that's like Monday. What does Monday tell you? It's your fault, guys. What is that? His final message is really, it's your fault, guys. What does turd
Yeah.
flinging monkey tell you? It's your fault, guys.
Hmm. Two different people, same message.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's so in people's faces, and you just, how do you get it through
Oh,
people's heads, you know? I don't know,
yeah.
you
Or
know, that's
even.
why I screamed in my video today, says, what are you people retarded? I said that talking about VVS. It says, what are you
Yeah.
people retarded? We're 2019. Everything you need is in your face. And you're hurling
Right.
conspiracy theory at me?
Did you write him a comment, or like on his YouTube page, or?
No, I just like the video. I don't have to worry about that. Some clown will make sure to tell it to him.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about that. There's somebody that's going to tell him.
Yeah. That'll be some drama.
But
Rumble in the.
it ain't going to matter to me
Manosphere.
because I'm not going to argue with the guy. He's already too stupid to argue with. I didn't attack
Yeah.
him, and I ain't making another video on him. But I will openly talk about him now. If he wants that to stop, then he better stop hurling insults and take his head out of
Mhm.
his you know what and start looking into shit.
Right. I mean, do unto you as you would expect others to do unto you, right? So since he's called you out,
Yeah, and
you're in the right to be calling him out.
that's where I come from with that. So you know, that's sad. Joe's
Yeah.
still not here. You know, I talked to Joe for 2 hours yesterday, and he's still late
Yeah.
today.
Maybe he's busy. I know it's an hour and a half in though.
I know we're about an hour and a half in now, and he's not here yet. It was about an hour and a
Might
half
be
last time.
difficult
So
to keep
I
it up
made
much
it.
longer.
Yeah, I made it a later time so that he'd have time to be here, and then he's still
Mhm.
not here.
Yeah.
I can't
It's
do much
unfortunate.
about that, you know. There's not really much I can do about that. I mean, you know, if he shows up, he shows up. He was supposed to be here, but as we can tell, he's not. Maybe he's not home. Maybe his mother's at home, and he's having trouble
Right.
losing her. Because if he talks
Yeah.
what he wants to say in front of his mother has a fit, and he has to put up with the drama. And what is
Yo.
that? That alone should tell you something. His mother don't want him talking about the truth in the dating scene in NWO. Oh no. I mean, talking about the truth about how women are treating men and what's going on in this world fires his mother right up. She's all pissed off at him.
Yeah. Uh, Yo, Bill, can I was watching, one of your live streams a couple of months ago. I think, Jeff was in it, and you were talking about money, and then you brought up an example. You were saying, I think the gist of it was, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but you were suggesting that the celebrities with all of the fancy, big houses and the cars, you were like saying, that really, none of that was going to matter in the end or whatever. I was just wondering, could you talk about that a bit?
Yeah, well, actually, that's not going to matter in the end anyhow. Because when they finally pull the trigger, it's going to be a domino effect. They're going to see,
Right.
there's no place that this can go. Society only has one direction, and that is the crash of your society.
Yeah.
And you're not going to watch the military and police step in and correct the problem. What you're going to watch is things go out of control, and it's going to get really bad, and there's going to be blood on the streets. See, your materialistic items, your fancy houses and your cars, are all going to mean nothing. Because the ultimate thing is what they'll always do. People don't understand it. The powers to be, people that we've allowed to run us, actually have control over everything, including the food that everybody gets in our grocery stores. And they will
Right.
not even hesitate to shut down the shipping of groceries to grocery stores globally. They won't hesitate a bit.
Oh, yeah. I think that's coming.
And you're talking, what, a week and a half? At tops, and the shelves will be empty. Okay, if
Yeah.
even that. You're only talking a few days and the shelves will be empty. And once them shelves are empty, you're not going to be able to get your hands on food. The majority of society don't even know how to survive off the land because they're
Right.
actually hooked up in the matrix.
Hmm.
So when you have a situation where the majority cannot survive off the land, then you have a real situation going on. And I think we lost Jay. No, we didn't.
Oh
There you
no,
are.
yeah,
I seen
just
this thing pop up, and I was just making sure you're still here. So
yeah.
what you got is a situation where they stop the food, which they'll do. Don't think for 1 minute they won't.
No.
So now you're going to have families with children. They're going to be panicking.
Hmm.
Okay? Now what's going to happen is neighbors. You live in a bigger city, better look out. Your worst enemy is going to be your neighbor.
Yeah.
Because if you got and they don't got, they're not going to hesitate, man. You're going
No.
to have people breaking into your home, armed, weapons, whatever, and they will kill you to take your groceries from you. They will not
Right.
hesitate. You're
I
not going to
see.
be able
Yeah.
to buy your next meal. I don't give a shit how rich you are. You could have your
Mm.
mansion and all of your Porsches and Rolls Royces and blah, 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 and all of your
Yeah.
riches that you want. But that's not going to buy your next meal.
No, you're kind of painting a target on your back, aren't you?
Well, yeah, now
That's all you're doing.
you actually had people come up on YouTube showing. You had one guy. I mean, I called him a real idiot. He'd come up on YouTube and show all of his food, all of his water and his
Oh,
food,
yeah.
and everything that he was stocking up for. He was going to make it through it because he had all this. And then he
Yeah,
showed you his
preppers.
weapons. He thought he was so smart. I have these weapons to stop you from taking it. But what he wasn't thinking about was, what are you going to do when 5,000 people are at your fucking door with all of them guns? I'm
Yeah.
sorry, son. It's going to be a lot of bloodshed and your food's going to be taken.
Right. I've never really understood why preppers have uploaded the fucking their little collection to YouTube.
So,
Yeah,
and it's so common sense, it's in people's face. They actually, most of the people don't understand how severe and how bad this is going to become overnight. They don't even
yeah,
think about it because they're oblivious to it because they're so used to, I just go to the grocery store and buy my groceries. No, 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 no,
oh
no.
yeah,
No, not no more you don't. Well, but then they will have places for us to go eat. Yeah, well, let's see. When we had Hurricane Katrina over here, we had all the people in the stadium. What did it take them a week to get them their water? Yeah,
right.
they'll get the food and water to a location when they choose to.
Mm.
Okay, see, the best way to control a population at this point is you take their survival away from them. Of course, the people at the top, they're not going to be hungry, they're not going to be thirsty. But all of you
No,
people that wouldn't stand up for yourself, you're going to be hungry, you're going to be thirsty, and you're going to be killing each other. And they're going to allow you to for a while. They're going to
mhm,
sit back and have their steak dinner or their caviar or their whatever they choose to eat and laugh while they watch you kill each other for your food. Then they're going to use it to control you with. And then they're going to put you where they want you. So you can just take that one to the bank. This is where you're going. And you can't
mhm.
blame nobody but yourselves because people like myself and so many other peoples have been pointing this stuff out to people for years now. And so many people still want to just turn their head, look the other way, say you're a nut job, you're this, you're that. Well, who's going to be the nut when they show? Well, but they would never do that in America. You know how many times I've heard that bullshit?
Oh, it's bullshit. Too many to count.
Well, don't you know that Russia and that Germany, that people said the same thing. They would never do that here. Well, guess
Yeah,
what happened there?
but I mean, in America, they're already tampering with the food supply, right? They're removing the vitamins and the minerals from the food, and
Oh,
they're
well, they've
putting a lot
been
of
doing that for years, right
carcinogens in
under
it.
everybody's nose. So what
Yeah, so
happens now? Hey, yeah, you're welcome to call in, Warren. I'm here.
if they tamper with the food supply, what happens next? It goes in stages. You've got perfect normal food, then they tamper with it. Then you're gonna get complete withdrawal of all food, and you're gonna have no food at all. So it works.
Okay, well, that's all right, Warren. I'm still here. So if you plan on jumping in, you jump in when you get your phone in your hand. Maybe Joe will be jumped in by then. Maybe he won't. Who knows?
I
Okay.
think my phone will be long dead by then, even with the camera off. Yeah,
Yeah, you may have to plug it in, huh?
yeah. I think I'm down to about half now.
Oh,
So how
okay,
long's
yeah.
that been?
I don't
I don't
know. I
know.
mean, we better. If it's half and it was full charge when you got here, you got an hour and a
I think
half
an hour
out
and
of
a
it.
half.
You got an hour and
Yeah,
a half out of half a charge. That's pretty damn
and then
good if you ask me.
I did have the camera on as well for the start of it, for the first 20 odd minutes or so, and that probably drained the battery further.
Yeah, it probably did. If you had a cord, I'd tell you to plug it in while you're talking.
I'm just sort of out in the back garden, with the trees and stuff.
Okay, yeah, there ain't no electricity out there, is there? No. It's a
No, it was
garden, so,
actually it was raining on me earlier. Oh, but I like it. I mean, I would maybe go to a forest or something, but I think that's going a bit too far. I don't want to get, fucking assaulted or something.
Well, it's so sad because people don't realize how bad it's gotten, and they don't realize it's going to get a whole lot worse before it gets better. And by the
Yeah,
time it gets a whole lot worse, their better is going to be like 1984. That's why people should watch the movie or read the book. Their better is going to be even a whole lot worse than that. Their better is going to be, I mean, I just don't understand why people are so stupid. How they can be so oblivious. How you would rather stay divided, calling each other names, and doing what they want you to. How you gonna let
mm,
your ego inflate and you're gonna run around as an egomaniac and do the shit Jerry did? You know, that's what turned me against people's ego was Jerry.
yeah,
And that's why I
quite the one.
say that's why I added ego to the list of power and greed. Because
Yeah,
we've all known for years now that power and greed, either one, money, wealth, or power over others, corrupts the human mind. Well, I had to
yeah,
add ego to that because Jerry
yeah,
proved concretely that his ego had corrupted his thinking.
yeah. The love of self or the deprecation of self. That's why I think Monday focuses on the self so much to basically get the man in the manosphere to be more egotistical to make their
Well,
egos grow.
I'm sure Monday's really getting a big ego trip on it. Think about it. Monday's got himself in a situation where he can use Monday, Moon Day, which actually spells worshiping women, and then talk
Yeah,
about INCEL and TFL topics and put these guys in a situation where they're blaming themselves and laugh while he's worshiping a woman right in front of you.
right. Yeah, I was reading one of the comments on VVS's live stream, and somebody was saying, that Monday was like shaming men or whatever that couldn't get a woman in one of his videos. Like he was actually, saying, oh, you can't get a girlfriend, you suck or something. He was fucking saying that.
Well, of course
That's
he
what it said in
was.
the comments. I can't
Yeah.
verify it, but
I'm sure he probably did. If you
something to
ask
that
me,
effect.
I'll bet you Monday's probably got a wife or girl at home.
Yeah,
You're never going
I
to
think
see
so.
her. No, you'll never see her. You'll always see the same stuff you're allowed to see. That's it. You're not going to really
Yeah.
know his real name. You're not going to really know where he lives.
No, you don't even know where he lives.
No, you're not going to know his real name or where he lives, and you'll never see his woman. He'll always tell you don't got what he has right in his other room, right in the other room that you won't see.
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
know.
this is how these people are. They're snakes. They're literally snake oil salesmen. They're criminal. I can
Yeah.
guarantee you Monday's getting his rocks off on it. He's loving it.
Yeah, like a lot of people, say he looks creepy. A lot of his criticizers, they think, oh, he can't get a girl because he's creepy. But I think the reason he looks creepy is because he's lying through his teeth to you in the whole fucking video every time you're watching him. So, that creepiness rubs off as
Oh yeah, well
ungenuine
these
as
guys that
snake oil
says
salesman.
these guys that say that Monday can't get a girl are probably just complete dumbasses. I can almost
Yeah,
guarantee you that Monday has a girl. He might even have a
yeah,
wife and children.
yeah,
You know, I can almost guarantee you that man does. You're
yeah.
never
Like
gonna know that because he's not about to let you know it.
the reason I think he comes off as creepy is because he's lying to you, and it comes through in his body language in some way. He's trying to sell you something. So, you're
So
picking up on that.
the reality is what it is. That's why I tell people they don't realize how bad things could be. Things are gonna get. It is a matter of people caring about right and wrong, and recognizing right and wrong, and wanting to do the right thing, and caring about other people as much as they care about themselves. Because if we can't get care back, you ain't changing a fucking thing. And I don't see that happening personally. What I see happening is going to be what I was just talking about when Jay asked me to talk about. I think that's what you're going to get to see. You're going to get to see
Yeah,
the crash of your society. You're going to get to see the food disappear from the shelves in the stores. You're going to get to see what real tyranny is when your neighbor's your
yeah.
enemy.
I mean, life now would be a paradise in comparison to life in the, in the future life then.
You know,
It's
and
just
I
going to
know
get
a
worse
lot
and
of
worse.
people want to think, well, no, that wouldn't, but there you go. You got that mentality. Wouldn't happen to
Right.
me. That mentality leaves the door wide open for it to happen to you.
Yeah. You were talking about care earlier, and I think it's a very sad thing whenever you see parents kicking their own kids out of the house when they turn 18 or 16. Like, I mean, they don't even care about their own kids enough to like let them live in the house. They
Well,
make them homeless in some cases.
today's parents is, my son's mother. A lot of people don't know this. I
No,
met her through my brother. I was not
right,
looking when I met her. I just happened to go to my brother's house, the one that's
yeah,
living with me now, okay? This has been
right,
many years ago, okay? And
yeah,
I went to his house, and she was 14 years old at the time, and she was
uh-huh.
sitting on his couch with a t-shirt on and a pair of panties. And I got my brother alone and says,
Oh.
"Who's this freaking teen you have sitting in here in her t-shirt and panties? Shouldn't she go put on some pants?" Right? I didn't
I
know the first
suppose.
thing about her, right? Okay.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
little did I know at that time that that girl, well, later on in life, was going to wind up being my wife. Let alone that my son, that was going to be his mother.
Yeah.
Okay. I had no way of knowing that for the life of me. But that is the reality. I tell you, most people, when they meet their significant other when they're not looking, that's because I've met so many people that that's exactly what happened. They met when they wasn't looking.
Yeah, I think there's some truth to that.
People think when I'm looking is when I'm going to meet, and the majority of people don't meet when they're looking.
No, no. I mean, I
What they
wonder why
do
that
is
is.
wind up getting stressed out because they can't get. And as your body language will show if you're stressed out trying to get. And and you get people, well, that's not true, but that is true. I don't
Yeah,
care what you tell me. I know that to be true. You don't think body language can be, it can be. In that particular area, it will be. How will it not be?
yeah.
You know, a guy that's been rejected over and over and over, he learned
Hmm.
how to read the girl's body language. So now when he's being rejected, he knows she's going to reject him before it comes out of her mouth.
Oh yeah.
Okay? How did he do that? Because he read her body language. Because why? He's been rejected that many times. Okay? That he learned the body language. Well, this is
Right.
the reality is if you're stressed out and been rejected 150, 200 times, and you're going to go out there and try to meet a girl after that many rejections, you're going to be nervous. You're going to want to say all the right things, and you're going to
Yes.
be in that state of mind that your body language will stand out,
Yeah. Like.
and you won't even know what's happening. So, this is
Yeah.
why I told people go out there with no intentions of meeting a girl. Get your clutter friends, hang with your friends, and do your thing. If a girl comes
Yeah.
along, stay in the same frame of mind and be yourself. That's all I can tell you.
Right.
Does that guarantee you a woman? No, it does not. Okay?
No.
But
Um,
if you stay in that same frame, you won't be adding all that extra stress to yourself, tearing yourself down. And if you do meet a girl, she's going to meet the real you without the
yeah.
stress of you trying to please her ass.
Mm.
That's the reason I say that. Then your body
Yeah.
language won't be screaming anything that could run her off. Not that you're going to get a chance anyhow. In today's society, if you do, chances are you're going to find out she's a drama queen and your life was better without her. And I mean, because it's so toxic from social engineering.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's just the reality is you're going to cause body language that she's going to pick up on if you've been rejected a couple hundred times and you go out there with the intentions of meeting a girl and you won't even know you are. So, this is where I come from when I'm saying that. That's the reason I'm
Hmm.
telling guys don't go out to meet a girl. Get some friends, guy friends, and go out and hang out and do things. And if the girls come along, they're blah, blah, blah. Don't worry
Mm.
about meeting her. Just stay in the same frame of mind. Be yourself and do your own thing and let it happen naturally. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. If it ain't going to happen, it ain't going to happen, okay?
Yeah. That's some
There's
good
no point
advice.
in tearing yourself down over what you've been tearing yourself down over your whole life, anyhow.
Yeah.
That's where that
And
comes from. So, it's not to be mean to people. I'm actually, if you really think about it, trying to help you.
yeah. Another thing though, like, don't read too much into it as well. Like, I mean, like if you're being friendly to a girl and she's being friendly back to you, but then it doesn't, it turns out she's not interested. After a while, don't be thinking, well, I got to change the way I speak, the way I act. Don't be thinking anything like that.
No,
Just
hell no.
that's natural sometimes.
You just be your fucking self. Fuck what she thinks about you.
Yeah, and
Don't give
sometimes
a fuck what she thinks about you. You're with your guy friends and you're doing your thing, and you do your thing and you be yourself and don't give a flying fuck about her.
right. Sometimes they're not even interested in anything serious. They're just interested in something
Do
quick.
you think I cared about Jason's mother, my son's mother, when I first seen her? Didn't know she was going to be my mother? First off, she was too young right at the time. It's not that many years apart, but I was just
Hmm.
over 18 and she was 14, and so there wasn't going to
Oh,
be nothing there, and I wasn't looking that way anyhow. But the point was, is I didn't give a
mhm.
fuck. The only thing I told my brothers, who the hell is this girl you got sitting on your couch? This teen girl with a t-shirt and panties on. Maybe she should go put some freaking pants on. That's what I told him.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. I mean, oh, like,
So yeah, it's one of them deals that, you know, and just, for common sense advice, why do you want to go out there and tear yourself down trying to impress a damn girl? Which, I mean, no. Why? be your fucking self. If she don't like you,
Yeah.
she's not gonna like you anyhow.
Yeah, and most it's natural. Maybe you won't click. That's just how it is.
Well,
It's not your
that's it.
fault.
If it clicks and
Don't
she
change it.
likes what she sees and blah blah blah, it's gonna naturally happen on its own.
Yeah,
Okay?
and and some.
At least you're not tearing yourself down and causing yourself all this unnecessary stress.
Mhm.
I get fired up at the agents online because they're here for one reason only, to keep the problem alive and well.
Yeah, they exacerbate the problem and make it worse. Try and tell people that you got to
Hey,
watch what you say. Hey,
Hey, Warren.
hey, I'm back. I'm in now.
You're back? I didn't know you were here earlier, but okay. I'm being
Well,
good to
smart.
I
see
can
you.
say, well, I'm here now.
Yes.
Yeah, it's good to see y'all too, man. I had to work tonight, and I had to walk home about 3.5 miles. You know,
Wow.
Yeah, well, that's okay, You
then I
should
had to
be.
soak my feet because I got to get rid of my athlete's foot, and I got athlete's foot and MRSA, and I guess there's some sort of connection there. I don't know. I mean, because it seems to be mostly on my feet, which is where I have my athlete's foot, and I think that's why it came back the first time, because I guess I didn't really do enough to take care of my athlete's foot. But I mean, because I went back about 3 months ago, and they were telling me this. I guess I should have paid more attention then, but
Hey, well, I would just say, Warren, it's a learning experience, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, right?
I mean, this is sometimes in life we have to learn things the hard way. Okay, that's just the fact of life, and I think we've all been there. I'm not going to be ashamed to say that I've been there. I've had to learn something the hard way before. I think that happens to all of us. I think that's because we're human beings. We're not
But you know
meant to
the
be
fucked up thing.
perfect.
Yeah.
You know the fucked up thing about this is this MRSA epidemic is going around. It's hitting younger kids now too. And you know what it goes back to? It goes back to doctors not sterilizing their fucking equipment. So there you go. You pay doctors. They're supposed to help you take care of your health, and what do they do? They destroy your health.
Well, that's what doctors are paid to do nowadays.
That's all big pharma is, right? You go to the people you go to help you with your health, and they, like I said, they make a business out of fucking making you sick. Keeping you addicted to their fucking legal crack and shit like that. That's really pretty much what all big pharma is all their drugs is legal crack.
Well, they need to, because this perpetuates the problem, and it keeps money coming into their coffers, and it helps them with population reduction, Warren.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As Bill, used
Yeah.
to say, they used to do the natural drugs like the alcohol and the cigarettes, and they got you onto the worst drugs, which are the chemically manufactured ones like the antidepressants and the ketamine.
So, it's one of them things that I don't know what we're going to do about that, but, it's a situation.
I'll tell you what I would do if I was younger, man. I don't got the time to pull it off now because I'm going about 40 right now, but if I was like 18 again with what I know now, this is what I would do, man. I would get me about 3 or 4 other guys who are young enough, who are completely awake, who are black-pilled. What you do is you set yourself a brotherhood, right? Almost like a counter-Illuminati, right?
Right.
And you start young, and everybody takes on. Everybody has a specialty, right? You learn survival skills. You learn self-defense, armed and unarmed. You learn first aid. You learn hunting and gathering. And everybody has a specialty, right? Every man in that group has a specialty, right? That they go for, right? You need a mechanic. You need a doctor. You need, one of the guys' specialty, of course, is going to be a doctor, and he's going to be trained to how to do surgeries. He's going to be trained to know how to do. He's going to be trained in actual medicine that works, not big pharma shit, not. And I mean, like that's really what we need. The fact is where they got us by the balls is we can't do everything on our own. Like sometimes, I mean, you can learn to be your own medicine man and things like that, as far as alternative medicine things. But when you have to, like, let's say for example, you have to go in for a surgery, you have no choice but to trust them on that. I mean, unless you happen to know somebody else who's a surgeon who You know, I mean, which is unlikely.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, vaccinations are a great example of that. Like, you know, people not knowing what the fuck
Yeah.
to do and putting the trust in others.
Well, it's funny. The funny thing about vaccinations is the fact that we've been here for how many hundreds of years without vaccinations, and if we were so bad, well, that we couldn't survive without vaccination shots, then you have to ask how we even got here to begin with.
Yeah, I got like
You know.
vaccination whenever I was like 16 or 18 or something. And for the next 2 years, my brain was fucking hurting. Like, you know, I was going, you know, I don't want to say, you know, I was going crazy, but, you know, I was
Well,
like
I got
fucking
Alzheimer's drugs right here.
mad.
I got Alzheimer's, dementia and Alzheimer's. I have that drug right here in my house. Oh, yeah, I know a lot of people didn't know that, right? Did they tell you that they
Yeah.
don't know the cause of Alzheimer's and dementia? That's because they lie to you. The cause is called Big Pharma. The cause is called Big Pharma and doctors, your medical industry. They know full well that Alzheimer's and dementia is caused by your cholesterol. But
Well, I
they
tell you
don't.
another thing that leads to Alzheimer's that people aren't paying attention to, Bill. I want to add this in here. Is okay when you drink, like, let's say a soda or a beer or something like that, right? Okay, you're drinking out of a metal can, right? And even sometimes it's in like canned foods and things like that, right? Now, what's happening is you're putting aluminum deposits in your brain.
You're already getting that every
Yeah.
day from chemtrails, Warren.
Yeah.
Okay? So you got a combination there. But I know for a fact that there's specific drugs. And the funniest thing ever is, okay, if you've ever looked up the word smart that's used, like smart meters, smartphones, the word smart goes back to military. It's always a weapon used against the people. That's where the word smart comes from. And if you go do your research on it, you're going to see what I'm telling you is correct. Well, here's what you're told about the cholesterol pill that was handed to me, which is one of the second one on the list of like 10 of top causes of Alzheimer's and dementia. I'm told, okay,
Yeah.
this is what the doctor will tell you at the heart clinic. You have good cholesterol and bad cholesterol. And this pill is a smart pill. It knows the difference between good and bad, and it only removes the bad. So, your brain is loaded with cholesterol that keeps
Yeah.
the different cells apart, right? And our
Right.
bodies have electricity in them, and we are full of
Right.
energy, whether you believe it or not, we are. The cholesterol
Yeah.
is like the wiring. If you took wiring in a house, you got the plastic coating on the wire so they don't arc back and forth and on each other, right? So
Yeah.
that's what the plastic coating for on wire is, so they're not arcing. Well, the cholesterol in your brain does the exact same thing, believe it or not. Well, this smart pill removes the cholesterol from your brain. So, what's going to happen once enough cholesterol is gone between two parts of cells? You're going to have frequency, the electricity crossing over where it don't belong.
Right.
This is where
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
get Alzheimer's and dementia from. From
I
Big
think.
Pharma, I'm going to agree with Warren because I know he's correct.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a combination here. But if we went back years enough ago before they were spraying us, we still had Alzheimer's then. See, the medication from Big Pharma has been weaponized and you've been lied to like you've always been lied to.
Right.
Okay?
I think.
Like you've
Yeah.
always been lied to.
A lot of these drugs that act on the brain, you know, they probably have negative side effects that are gonna come and bite you, you know, down the ass, down the road. Like, great
And they
granny,
even
you
tell
know.
you that when they put you on. Hell, they advertise these drugs on TV, man. And even there, man, you sit there and you spend like 10, 15 minutes listening to list off side effects.
Yes.
Yeah, like
You know, and then like 3 months down the road, you know, you hear, did you take this medicine and have these bad reactions? Call the law officers. Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, you know,
You know,
if you listen to the commercials on TV, it's in your face. They tell you all the good stuff about their drug. And at the last part of the commercial, they talk 100,000 miles an hour as they tell you the side effects. That you better slow-mo
mm,
to hear because it's going to be set at 1,000 miles an hour because this way they can tell you that they told you the side effects, even though they got their expert speed talker going 1,000 miles an hour.
mm.
yeah.
People don't pay attention to that. If they just open their eyes and pay attention, they'd realize the entire commercial for the drug was a normal talking behavior until the very end when they said side effects.
Right. Most people I
And
know
see,
though haven't.
Bill, this is why I'm kind of, in a way, man. I mean, I know it's kind of a double-edged sword, but in a way, it's not so bad living TFL, and I'm gonna tell you why I say that. I mean, it is, but it isn't. Let me tell you why. Because the more you learn about society, the less able you are. Once you become completely black pilled, you understand what the fuck is going on in the world. You're not able to connect with people anymore, anyhow, man. Most people are too shallow and too fake.
Yeah, like you're on a different level, like a
God.
paradigm almost. Like
God,
there's so many differences.
I can't argue with Warren on that point at all because that is true. You meet everybody around you. It's like, you know, that's why I use the word of zombie apocalypse. Okay? We're living this zombie apocalypse world where, okay, instead of saying brains, 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 we're like, we're smarter than you are. It's all a game, man. We gonna one up and I'm gonna do whatever I can do to you wrong, to do whatever damage I can do to you because my ego says so, you know? And you got this psychotic, psychopathic world. That's why, you know, I said earlier in the show before Warren was here that anymore I believe that probably 80% of our population in the world is psychopaths.
It might be more than that, man. I tell you what, the people who are running your government are almost 100% psychopaths.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, so I give a high number of people in our world are psychopaths.
It's not just government, man. It's not just government. You understand the way this system is set up, man? It's set up by psychopaths for psychopaths. And they need psychopathic type personalities on every level of society to keep it running, man. I mean, so when you get into like these big business and big Fortune 500 companies and stuff, who do you think excels at those? Psychopaths.
Exactly.
Yeah, like the want of power over others, you know.
Well,
that's
you know, that's it, you know. And when you even drop clear down to the lowest levels of the dating scene, I'm sorry, when it's all a game and you don't care what you do unto somebody else because it's the one up or hurt somebody else, that is psychopathic behavior. You know, and if you get pissed off at me for saying you're a psychopath because you think that's okay to do, well, it's because you are a psychopath.
Well, you know something else, Bill? I want to get this in here too, man. Is inbreeding produces psychopathy, right? Now, the elites want to breed the common people back into their image. What do you think is going to happen when common mundane society ends up devolving into a polygamous society, right? Where even in these polygamous societies that aren't necessarily elitist, I mean, in a sense of like being like bloodlines, but these people, if you look at the Mormons, if you look at the like a lot of the Mormons and Muslims, they totally believe that they're inbreeding superiority and shit like that. I mean, doesn't that sound familiar?
Yes, sirree. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, they already believe they're gods, Warren. They actually think they're gods. You know?
They're being molded right into the image of their fucking slave masters, and of course they're too dumb to see it.
Yeah, that's really, I mean, you know, you can't fix stupid. What can I say? At least I did get a proper name for VVS, even though he's TFL. I got the proper name for him. At first I said very, very asleep. But then I got thinking, nah, very, very stupid.
Yeah.
But you know what though, Bill? Here it is in a nutshell, right? They get mad. Normies get mad at us for saying we need to go back to a monogamous state and things like that, right? But here's the thing: even normies are struggling in the dating scene. Every other day, you see shit coming up on TED Talks where normies are talking about how the problems they're having. The structure ain't even working for them. So they know the structure is not working for them, but how dare you suggest changing it? You know, it's only working for women and a very small fucking percentage of men.
Yeah, like, you know, 50% of the people that get married get divorced. So, you know, at least half of the marriages are failures.
Yeah, well, it's going to be
you know?
It's of course, you know, guys, it's going to be a failure because first off, all of the foundations that create a successful relationship have been flipped upside down on their head.
Yeah,
So
and it's normies to get married
yeah.
too. I'm just saying.
So
the
when
normies
you have all of the structures of a successful relationship flipped upside down on its head, and then you have the mentality of it's all about me, 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 me. On top of that, I'm sorry, that relationship only has one place to go. The same place your society's going. It's going to crash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Element said something in a video, and he I think he hit the nail on the head. He said, "Look, think about this. Right now, us TFLers are a hated minority, right?
Oh yeah.
Well, in the future, virtually everybody's going to be TFL. And at that point, bro, I'm gonna tell you something. At that point, they're going to look back at folks like us the same way people today look back at Leonardo da Vinci. Look at Leonardo da Vinci. He died dirt poor and broke, right? A failed artist. But then generations after he died, you know, he becomes famous for all of his inventions and his art and all this other shit. Even though he was completely ignored and shat on during his day and died poor, generations later people remembered him. That's going to be like us, man. That's going to be the way we are.
Well, unfortunately, there's not a lot we can do about that, you know. I set out to help as many people as I could help, and I stood up for men. And I'm still standing up for men, and always will stand up for men. Okay? And it's not because I'm a woman hater. It's because men are the ones that are being demonized. Men are the ones being, well, we're disposable, right? We're adorable. You can do anything you want to a guy you want. You can stab him, shoot him, whatever you want. I mean, it's no big deal. It's like what religion said.
But see, I want to give people a message of hope in this, though, Bill, because in a way there is hope. Let me explain this, right? How many times do we hear TFL or senators feeling like, you know, oh, I'm going to die and nobody's going to notice anything I've done. Nobody's going to remember me, all this shit. I'm just going to be forgotten and discarded, you know. Okay, that might happen in this time, but think about this here, man. If in the future, you know, everything that we're doing right now, all the big stink we're making right now, people are going to look back at that, you know, in 50 years, maybe 100 years. They're going to look back at everything that we're doing, and we're going to be like fucking heroes to us for it. Granted, we won't be there to defend what we put forward, and granted, the system's probably going to take everything that we say and twist it and manipulate it. That's the catch-20 on it. But people will, if you put your information out there, and if you say what needs to be said, people will be speaking about you in 100 years' time. If if you make noteworthy shit, I mean, you know, the elite can try to cover that up all they want to, but, you know, here's the thing, right? People are out here burning discs, burning CDs, burning all these talks on the disc, right?
Yep.
And as long as that keeps circulating, man, I mean.
Well, the thing is you're right about the fact that it's going to wind up with the majority of everybody being TFL. And then they're going to be looking back saying, wow, we attacked these people and attacked them and hated on them and hated on them. And here we are walking in their shoes. And then they're going to be going, well, how did this happen? Well, we've been telling you how it happened. It's not our fault that your brain don't work and it didn't register.
Here's the thing, though, Bill. it's not going to. The guys that are shitting on us for being TFL right now, those guys probably aren't going to be TFL. What's going to happen is they're going to live their lives out relatively happy and blissful and naive. What's going to happen is TFL is going to be visited upon their sons.
Yeah.
And of course, they're going to throw their sons under the bus and tell them that they got to try harder, or it's their fault, or whatever.
Well, you know what, Warren? You already see that happening.
Yeah,
if
I
you
know.
pay attention, you already see exactly what Warren said happening. There's so many men out there throwing their own children under the bus for the sake of their own selfishness and the woman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You don't got people to stand up for men. That's why, I don't give a shit what other people tell me. Men need to start standing together.
In 2019, if you stand up for men, you're a misogynist, Bill.
Well, then I guess we need to have thousands and thousands of misogynists because men need to get their heads out of their you-know-what. That's why I tell them to reach around the backside and grab their head by the back of the hair and pull it out of there. Because that's where it's at. And I know I piss people off when I say that because that's a foul thing to say, but the reality is it's in your face.
Yeah.
And you're turning your head to what's actually right in your face. It's like when Jay asked me to talk about something earlier, and I told people where they're headed. Exactly what's going to happen in this society. Even my ex couldn't figure that shit out until I freaking put it in her face. Okay, and then she was, because she didn't figure out how could they stop me from doing this or that. Simple. It's not hard to stop you at all.
You know what I think it is, man? Most people don't want to know what's going on in society. I think partially because they're afraid, and partially because some of these people, I'm not going to say all of them, but some of these people are just enjoying the gravy train too much. They're just reveling in the degeneracy, and they don't want to actually have to straighten themselves out. We live in a society where it's funny. They always tell us that we got to improve on ourselves, but the funny thing about most normies and most regular people is they hate working on themselves. They hate to improve themselves.
No, they don't want to. They don't want to recognize right from wrong. They don't want to do what's right because that means self-worth on oneself.
Self-improvement to them generally relates to very shallow things. Pretty much looks, money, status. It's never about their personality. It's never about.
It's never about treating somebody the way you want to be treated. It's not
It's
about
never
what's
about
right or
educating
wrong.
yourself. It's never about learning something or.
It's always about something so trivial it means nothing.
They never want to work on themselves. They never want self-introspection.
Well,
but they want to tell us that we have to sit here and self-introspect to the 9th degree and never stop. And we got to do everything under the sun, and even when it's not working, just keep doing it anyway. One day, if we keep grinding away and on that hamster wheel long enough, it might pay off. Fuck that.
Yeah, right.
Meanwhile, Chads are able to get fucking flabby and dad bods and still fucking pull ass.
Well, you know what?
Meanwhile, women can be 3 foot tall, fucking 450-pound fucking burn victim with a fucking peg leg, and still be pulling fucking average looking dudes.
Well, not just that. The real toxic thing is the behavior of the women towards the men. Because see, Warren, she can treat you however she damn well wants because there's always another guy waiting for her.
Yeah,
And all these simps and normies are going to stand up for her wrong behavior. They're not going to, that's one of the things that Jerry hated. When I called fucking straight across the board Eagle in a video, a TFL video, I went after women and men both. And I called the wrongs of both genders. The only thing Jerry heard was what I said about women. And that immediately made me a woman hater because I dared to call a woman out for her behavior.
Yeah.
So there's the crux of the problem right there, because as long as you keep covering up for the female's behavior, as you become complicit and allow that behavior, you're your own enemy. You're creating the problem we have.
Yeah.
That's why I said about Monday, Forever Alone Monday. The man's actually using the moon day, which leads back to the goddess of the moon, which is a woman, which basically what he's doing is he's worshiping a woman right in front of the manosphere as he's mocking guys that are alone and they don't even know it.
Yeah.
Because they're oblivious to what's really going on. The Jay and I talked about this before you came in earlier. And that's really what's going on. It's no different than with Turd Flinging Monkey. These guys are two peas in a pod. It will always be your fault, Warren. It doesn't matter. It's still your fault.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got to go down the self-improvement road. Don't try and change things from the outside.
And
try
that
and change
self-improvement road leads to you have to talk a certain way to a woman and present a certain behavior to a woman, but she don't have to. She does not have to talk a certain way to you because you are just a guy.
Yeah, I mean, I remember, I wrote, I wrote, Warren a message, right? We were talking on one of your comments, and I was saying him, one time, I say something, and then, maybe like the next couple of days later, some woman, in the group says the same thing, and whenever she said it, everyone was a lot more fucking interested than whenever I said it. So I was blue pilled at the time, and I was thinking, maybe she just said it more enthusiastically than me. Maybe she was more confident with her, the way she said it. Maybe she had the right hand mannerisms.
I may have not just seen the question, man. If I didn't answer you, I may have not just seen that, because sometimes I don't catch every question.
Oh yeah, no. I think you said to me, that like, you did respond to it. Like, I think you said, people, are just fake as fuck. Like, they don't really care about. They don't care what's being said. They care who's saying it. I think that's what you said.
Yeah. But Bill, let me ask you something, man. Because there's another show's channel I got you to look at, right? It's Facing LMS. Did you check out his channel?
I don't think I have yet. I've had so much going on with getting ready for the move, Warren, because I'm moving.
Yeah.
So I haven't had a chance yet, but I did go over to Element's channel, and I have checked out Element. I like the guy. Okay. Now
Element's straight. I like Element. He's cool.
I just noticed something that popped up on my corner, and I'm going to go ahead and bring this up because it needs to be said. You're going to like this one, okay? So we got Zachary Hubbard, who's talking about, and he gives a date, that Mark Passil will be interviewing Alex Jones.
Wow.
What does that tell you?
Yeah, that's what I've been saying all along. All these guys, man, they're all they're on that network. They're all running the same cliques, man. They're all buddy with each other. You gotta think they're only there because they're allowed to be there. I mean, right? Who runs the radio network? Who, because you gotta think about it. Who they answer to, right? If they all are on some sort of like major Patriot radio network station or some sort of truther radio station or whatnot, that means they have to work by the guidelines of that radio station. Or in other words, otherwise they could just cut them right off the air.
Let me read it to you. So Zachary Hubbard's got up of, okay, Synchronism, okay, Mark Passil, August 5th, InfoWars interview with Alex Jones and Mark's 147-point IQ.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but there's your red flag. I've always said that I suspected Mark Pasil was an agent, a shill, a plant. He didn't get this information from nowhere. I told people to listen to him because he's telling you stone cold truth. But you got to remember something else I've said. We are on the end days of NWO. And at the point in time in our society, they can tell you the stone cold truth in your face, and you're still going to do nothing about it. So that's exactly what they're doing. They always said they were going to tell us the truth, and there's how they're doing it. So Mark Passio, as much as he reminds me of me, and as much truth as he tells you, I've always suspected. I called him out when he bragged up alternative media and put mainstream media down when they're controlled by the same entity. And now, here we are. Zachary Hubbard has got him interviewing Alex Jones, or they're interviewed because of Mark Passio's IQ. Now, if that right there don't tell you something, but there's no help for you.
Well, here's one thing, though, Bill, if I can get this in here. Too, you got to bear this in mind, right? The CIA has funded the truth movement. They knew people were going to wake up and they had to control the rebellion. So they fought and paid the truth movement. They spearhead, they gave them leaders to follow. That's the way they always do these things, right?
Yeah.
So what are you going to do? What are you going to use the truth movement for? Well, let me explain this here, right? In order to set up the new system, they have to tear down the old system.
Correct.
So they can use the truth movement, theoretically, as a way to help tear down the old system and then allow people to think that they're defeating the New World Order, so that they'll put their guard down, so that they'll welcome in the new system with open arms. You see?
Yes. But you know, you're correct. But I'm okay with this happening because I've always suspected what I've known to be true. And even though I send people to listen to Mark Passio, it's because he's telling a lot of truth that I want people to wake up to. But that's the only reason. But outside of that, I've always suspected and said the guy is most likely an agent. I'm sorry, you have to question things like, okay, David Icke, he woke up in a bookstore and the knowledge just came to him. Bullshit, okay? Mark Passio. Mark Passio. Well, I was in a cult to Satanism, okay? And this is how I know what I know. But then you have to go back and think to yourself, so Warren, when you grew up as a child, how did you get involved in Satanism?
You know?
Isn't that sort of like right in your face? Bullshit.
I just think you got to look at the sub count, man. You know, anyone with over a certain amount of subs who's talking about this stuff, they're all plants, because it will get taken down if someone's talking real truth. And
well, the plants don't get taken down, but they do stage shows. Okay, I'll give you a good example. Dutch Sense is an agent. Okay? Dutch Sense is an agent. Dutch Sense channel's taken down. Okay? A week later, it's put back up. You know what they done? Dutch is going on vacation. No, it's a psyop. What they do is Dutch wants to go on vacation, and they don't want people to catch on that he's an agent, right? So they deliberately set it up to take his channel down for a week and put it back up. Then Dutch comes up afterwards. I got my channel back.
Yeah. And it was what was something I was going to say? Hold on, man. It's got me smoking all the damn. But fuck, it was some. Oh yeah. There was one guy who I definitely think was legit, man, as far as I can tell. I mean, I have every reason to believe that he was. I don't agree with him on everything, but he did have a lot of good information, though, man, is Bill Cooper.
Yeah. I think Bill Cooper was probably legit myself. Okay?
Yeah.
I have no doubts in my mind. My heart even tells me he was legit. But they couldn't control him because he was legit. So they did what they had to do and they took him out. Nowadays they won't take you out that way, they'll take you out the other way. they'll set you up and lock you up to shut you up.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Although all the Snowden case and the Julian Assange and all that shit's fucking psyops.
All of that is. Anybody that believes the WikiLeaks bullshit and Julian Assange and all that crap has fallen right down the rabbit hole. You know, and as I busted David Icke on that, because he's going along with the original narrative. Okay, poor Julian, blah, blah, blah. And it's like bullshit. Okay? You know what? You're awake to real truth to see through this crap. And I've always suspected Mark Pastel, even though I like the information and I like his attitude and personality, because he reminds me of me, right?
Yeah.
The difference between him and I is I'm not working for the powers to be for my money and going to all these big events and telling truth and at the same time throwing a lie in here and there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there is a lot of truth to get from listening to people like David Icke and Mark Pastel. If you're just learning and waking up to what's going on, I would suggest you listen to them. Because the more you educate yourself, the better off you're going to be. But understand these guys are also going to spill some lies to you. You need to know this. They are going to tell you some lies because they cannot tell you across the board the truth. There's certain things the powers to be don't want them said. And they're not going to tell on themselves. But it is in your face. But it is in your face because when's the last time you was in a bookstore and all the knowledge came to you, Warren?
Yeah, I know, right?
Exactly. Or for
I don't come to you, but this is what I've learned though, man. It's weird. Like the more you get into learning this stuff, a lot of this stuff is stuff that you find out that you kind of internally, like deep down, you knew all along, but you just weren't aware of it.
Yeah. As you start
studying,
what I'm saying? Well, you know, that's the thing. It was in your face for many years, right? And you was unaware of it. And then when you woke up to it and started researching it, it became common sense and in your knowledge. You know, and when people say, well, no, you're not, you can predict something that's going to happen. You're not really predicting what's going to happen. Not at all. Once you understand what they're really doing, you could pretty much guess the next step. You might be off here and there, a little bit there, a little bit there, but you're going to be pretty accurate on your guesses because when you understand what the plan is and where they're going, it's not too hard to figure it out.
I can't always say like play by play, blow for blow, like how it's going to go, but I know what the overall agendas are.
Yes, well, that's basically what I'm saying, Warren. You could take a pretty good guess on something that's going to happen, knowing what the agenda is, and you'll probably be pretty close. You may not be blow by blow accurate, but you're going to be pretty close.
Yeah.
You know, and that's really where it comes from. And no, these people like Mark Passy or David Icke, these people were in the know. And they were given this information. They're not fooling anybody really if you think about it, other than themselves. Their stories is BS because you got to realize, okay, even everybody in the chat, I'll give you an example. So, Jeff Ashton was a child. Jeff Ashton, how did you get involved in the satanic cult? Okay? You know, there it is in your face. You're going, what do you mean? I was never involved in that. How would you meet the people to be involved in that? So, if you was actually really involved in that, wouldn't there have to be family members as a child or somebody who was to introduce you into it? Okay? Yeah. So if you really think about it, even if you go with Oli Demigard, okay, who's another agent, you think, where did he get his information? Really? Come on.
To be fair,
go ahead.
I want to get this in here. To be fair, too, though, common people can join the Church of Satan. I mean, I agree with you about what's his name?
Mark
I'm
Passio?
a brain fart right now. Mark Passio, but I'm just saying though. I mean, anybody can join. I mean, you and I could join the Church of Satan if we want to. I mean,
Right, but you're not going to be in a position to have the knowledge they have.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to give you that information.
Or even, like, I think the public Church of Satan's, a red herring.
Yeah.
Like, I remember watching Christopher Lee, he was a good actor, I think he's a descendant of Charlemagne, who's like a Roman Empire from 800 AD, and he was discussing Satanism, and he was talking about how a lot of the leaders of the Church of Satan wanted to put him as the best devil in their books, but he was basically saying that wasn't real Satanism, that was just the public. It was like a red herring, a false flag, basically, and that the real Satanism that's practiced by the elites can't, it's underground. It's not public. So you know what I mean?
Yeah, you have to be in a. It's no different.
Yeah.
You got hundreds and you got probably thousands and thousands of Freemasons, okay, that know nothing. That know nothing about what's going on. That are doing good for society because they're a level 1, 2, or 3, and they'll never go any more than that. Okay, the people that are 33-degree Mason or 28-degree or whatever, right?
Yeah.
These people came from families and was already in a position of knowledge.
Yeah.
It's no accident.
You have to sort of be born into the elite to get into this type of circle.
You do. So
Satanism or Freemasonry.
Yeah.
Just
bloodlines. That's what they can't fraternize outside those bloodlines. They will actually they'll actually be assassinated for that. I think theoretically that's why, if I'm not mistaken, that's what happened with Princess Di.
Yeah.
Well, I understand she was having an affair outside the bloodlines with some other dude and from some other country or something. And right, isn't that what happened?
I do believe that's what happened.
Yeah.
She was She was assassinated. That auto accident wasn't an auto accident. That was deliberate.
Which is odd because these elites look down on the common people and shit. If you're not in that bloodline, they look down on you so hard. It's almost inconceivable to think that she would risk her life to go for some,
Well, that's why I said. That's why I do believe, Warren, that David Icke and Mark Passio, the cosmic abandonment, David Icke and Mark Passio both said something that I believe is probably true. When they talked about another life form, an alien, okay, and interbreeding with a human, I think that's where the bloodline comes from.
That could be. I mean, it's a theory.
I know. But see, David Icke and Mark Passio both said the same thing on that. And when I think about it, we can't prove at the very top of the fucking pyramid, okay? And to say that there's no such thing as an alien, well, an alien to us, to me, would be nothing more than a different life form that we know nothing about. And when I live on a planet filled full of thousands of life forms that we all acknowledge, then why would I say there couldn't be another life form we know nothing about? As many planets are in the galaxy, I'm sorry, there is that chance.
I do know that there is a plan to use a fake alien scare.
Well, yeah.
That can be. Whether or not there are real, I mean, I'm sure there are real aliens in the universe. Whether or not we've been visited by them, I mean, we don't have any concrete evidence of that.
Well, no, we don't. I agree with you. I do agree with you.
But I am open to the possibility. I'm not. All I can do is sit on the fence with it.
Well, that's what I do with it. Okay, my theory is this. I think personally that there's a really good high chance that David Icke and Mark Passio actually told you the truth. They said the same thing, right? And that's where the bloodline comes from, right? But at the same time, just like anything else, the perfect psyop would be to convince people of an alien attack that isn't happening.
Yeah. And then we use that to unite everybody into this new world order against a mythological common enemy. You know, that's why I've been showing you movies like War of the Worlds and Independence Day and
Yes.
yeah, I mean,
Yes, it's
you know,
psychologically, it readies your mind. Okay? Now,
yeah,
if they, but that's my personal opinion. I think that David Icke and Mark Passio probably did tell the truth on that. And that would actually make sense because Mark Passio showed some stuff that, if they're real, he showed pictures, old pictures of skulls of human beings and skulls of what you thought was a human being, but the skull wasn't. You could tell that, right? Now think about it.
yeah,
If there was another life form that interbreeded with a human, that would make a different bloodline, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Okay, so when you get David Icke talking about the reptilian, right? And the reptilian
yeah,
brain, okay? Well, think about it. If that stuff is actually true, which I got a feeling it is, that would explain the bloodline. That would explain why they're keeping it within that bloodline. And then that means there could be a good chance at the very top of the pyramid, who's pulling the strings could be another life form.
yeah.
And that
Well,
actually
part of the
matches
reason I
up
want
to
to
the
keep it in that
alien.
bloodline too, though, is because it's running a eugenics system. So it's all about keeping things organized into a certain way, man. And you know, you can have your different. They want their different case, their different classes. So
Yeah.
I mean, you know,
Well, that part
I mean,
I also agree with you on that very much so. Because if you just drop the alien thing and look around you, do we not already have different classes and different this and different that and labels for people up the ass?
yeah,
See, so it all fits together if you really think about it. And if you ever listen to the Roswell interview, and then you think about what David Icke and Mark Patterson said, and you start putting the math together, it does add up.
like I said, inbreeding does create psychopathy, and most of these elite bloodlines are very inbred.
Yes. So
you know, and the thing about psychopathy, psychopaths by definition are very like lizard brain. They don't feel compassion or sympathy or any kind of positive emotions. They're just they operate on dry logic. It's all about efficiency, getting the job done. You know, they don't care who they hurt. I mean, they derive pleasure from actually harming others.
Well, that I totally agree. I totally agree. See, and I would be with you, Warren, because we cannot concretely prove the alien thing at all, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm with you on that. Even though I believe that's probably the real truth, because I can't concretely back it, I have to stay on a fence. But it doesn't mean I can't tell you my opinion.
Yeah.
And that's really where that comes from. So that's just my opinion. My opinion is that's why we got the bloodline thing going on to begin with.
Yeah. The weird thing about the mind of a psychopath, our ability to feel empathy and compassion and these higher traits, in their mind, they see that as weakness.
Yeah. But,
you know what I'm saying?
Oh, I'd be weak as shit compared
to them. Because it holds us
right?
back.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I have nothing but a heart filled full of care, right? And that's definitely what they don't want.
Yeah, you know? Yeah.
So that just puts me on their radar as an enemy. And I think I've been on the elite's radar for a long time now. So what can I say? But I'm probably
a business. You know a business where you see a lot of psychopaths? Mercenaries.
Yeah, that would be one. Mercenaries.
Yeah. There's a lot of psychopaths, and militaries in general, but especially in private militaries and shit like that.
Well, you got your mercenaries, your military, your governments, your corporations, and then we bleed on down the line to companies that ain't corporations, right on down to the average Joe on the street. Because as you said earlier, they want everybody to be a psychopathic.
Yeah.
They don't want people like you or me, Warren.
Yeah.
We are their enemy.
I know.
That's no doubt about that. We are their enemy.
Yeah.
Because I have the ability to care and I never will stop. I'll stop when I'm not here no more, yeah, but until then, no. And for people like Jay, I'm always going to stand up for people like Jay, always. And I'll stand up for any man out there that's willing to open their eyes and look. I'm on men's side. Don't get me wrong. I'm on women's side too if women will do the right thing.
Yeah.
Because it's not about hating the opposite gender. But I also agree with Warren, TFL could be a plus for you as well. Because when we have a world that's as fucked up as the one we're living in, why do you want to bend over for another human being who don't look at you as a human because she thinks she's something she's not?
You know.
Because being in a relationship can be a life of hell in today's society, as you get treated lower than a piece of dirt on the ground by the very gender you're supposed that we claim as loving and nourishing, huh?
Yeah.
You know, and I can't say why Joe didn't show up tonight, but it's obvious he didn't make it tonight. Okay? So, I would love to see Joe make it. I did talk to him for 2 hours yesterday, but then you don't know. I mean, maybe his mother stayed home and he wasn't able to get her out of the house. So he didn't call in to avoid drama. And Peter Nolan had said something at 32 years old, why is he still living at home then? And I didn't want to get involved in that, but he did tell me it's financially because he can't afford to get a place even with his job on his own.
No,
Yeah.
you can't. I mean, the property's 10 times the value of what it used to be in the 1960s. Like,
So that actually makes sense. And so for Joe not showing up tonight, most likely his mother was at home because I remember the first live stream with Joe. And I seen his mother on my side. Nobody else saw it. And his mother did come down the hallway. She tried to stay to the far side so she wouldn't be on the cam. She didn't want me to see her. And she did tell Joe that he didn't need to talk to me ever again because I was dangerous.
I bet you if you were a woman, she would have been delighted that he was talking to you. My son's got himself a girlfriend.
Oh, yeah.
Strange American girlfriend online.
But here you are. I'm dangerous because her son's talking about the dating scene topics and NWO, and that means I'm dangerous because she fears losing power she shouldn't have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty much.
It just shows how very, very sick our world is. Her son's 32 years old. He's living TFL, and he understands and sees what's going on in the world. He's awake like Jay is, okay? And, he's on a level where me and Warren and Jay is, right? And he's speaking up about it, and his mother's very offended by it.
Yeah, it's all about the female empowerment, right? A man tries to, fight for himself, well, they're going to be taking the power away from the woman, and we can't have that.
Yeah. So,
she's probably in a situation. Women will do that, man. Like mothers will do that to their sons, man. I kind of have the same problem, man. Sometimes where they'll try to trap their sons in various ways. I mean, they can be very manipulative.
Well, that's just it, controlling, manipulative, lying. When they want to paint the man out as always wanting to be in control, the man's so controlling. And in my life, I'll tell you this right now, I have seen men are very controlling to their women. In my own life, in personal, real life experiences. But I've also seen just as many women who are very controlling over the man.
Yeah, I mean, if women were really submissive, then they wouldn't like no-fault divorce. They wouldn't like feminism. They wouldn't like the suffragettes movement. If the women were really submissive and men were dominant, women would be against fucking feminism and female empowerment. But it's the opposite.
Yeah, well, you think about it.
Yeah.
Everything
So,
that's ever been told in society has always been ass backwards, upside down, twisted inside out.
yeah, I honestly, I do not think they like dominant men today. Like more and more, I think they're just going for that, submissive kind of simp type of guy. You know what I mean?
What's happening, man, is the bad boys and the nice guys are switching places now, and a lot of it has to do with. I think a lot of it is because of the whole incel phenomenon kind of break-in, and what's happened is a lot of the former nice guys that are becoming awake now, they're becoming angry, and they're not so nice anymore. Now you see them coming online, they're angry and they're pissed off, and so now in a sense, like they became the bad boy. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes.
now the normies are trying to counteraction to that. They're becoming the nice guy, or they're going for the nice guy thing. Women still want their Chad. They just want a simpy kind of nice guy Chad.
Yes. Well, hello, Steve. How are you doing?
What's up, Bill?
I'm over here talking with Warren and Jay. We're up here on a live stream. So how's it going?
Well, too bad. I was just listening. I caught into the tail end of it. You're probably ready to go, but
Well, that's all
sound
right.
like
I don't mind. I can be here for a bit yet because you're here.
do you have me on video? Because I want to keep it on audio only.
Oh, well, no, you're not on. Nobody can see you.
Okay, good. Sounds good.
They're only hearing you.
you.
Yep, they're only hearing you. That's all they can do. So
Bill,
Warren's here, and I don't think you've met Jay yet. He's the guy from United Kingdom.
I talked to him. I think he's a 21-year-old, 22-year-old guy.
Yes.
Yeah, we talked once.
Good.
Yeah.
How's it going?
Oh, I've been good.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, thanks. Have you
Yes.
been keeping?
So, Bill, I've always known that David Icke, something seems suspicious about him. He claims he got this information through I don't know anybody that's been visited by some extraterrestrial where they got all this information in a bookstore.
Got that right. Well, did you hear? I don't know if you was around to hear it, but here's a new one for you, okay? You'll like this. Zachary Hubbard has posted up Mark Passio August 5th InfoWars interview with Alex Jones on Mark Passio's 147-point IQ.
Right.
So
He's interviewing Alex Jones now?
Well, if you're going to have Mark Passio and Alex Jones interviewing Mark Passio, or Mark Passio with Alex Jones, that should send up red flags to everybody.
Bill, this whole alternative media has all been a fraud from day one.
Oh, you're damn right it has.
Yeah, damn right it has.
Yeah, it's been a fraud from day one. I was obsessed with Alex Jones in the early 2000s, but something told me that it was too good to be true. And that's the best way to put it. This is just too good to be true. And I was
Well,
right.
you know what it is? Well, you know what it is? You know what it is, Steve, right? They said back in Lenin, we quote Lenin, he said, the best way to control the opposition is to lead it yourselves. And you probably heard me quote that before, but that's a very prominent statement. That's what they do. They know people are going to catch on, so they give them leaders to follow. who tell them a little bit of truth, and then they spin them off, with their own agenda.
It's unfortunate that it has to be that way, but it's the truth that I think this stuff is all BS from the very beginning. And I think some people should just drop out. And I think this is the reason why a lot of MGTOWs, and I'm not saying all of them, but some of them have dropped out from the scene. And I've thought about it too. And Bill and I have talked about this. This stuff, I don't know if it's even worth talking about anymore, because it's like the world just goes about its daily life as things don't even matter. I think the New World Order would have succeeded even without Alex Jones. That's how bad it is.
People don't even give a shit now. Well, think about this, Steve. Think about this, okay? Aldous Huxley was he was the head of the Eugenics Society, okay? And his brother, Julian Huxley, wrote Brave New World, right? Now, Aldous Huxley, and this is back in 1952, you can look the interviews up online. He was telling you about all the stuff that is going to come down, and this many generations later, it's all coming to pass. And he tell you all this crazy shit, we're just crazy we're crazy conspiracy theorists, right? He's talking about all this crazy shit about the scientific dictatorship and how technology's taking over everything, and he's predicting all this shit, man, like back in the 50s.
Here's the thing that I told Bill. About 20 years ago, you could say the geeks were winning the war in the computer age with the internet. The geeks have lost because the geeks are now working for Google. And this is something that I remember about 10 years ago. Gerald Celente was saying that he thinks that elections should all be based on the internet because the nerds and the geeks would find the truth out that they were being rigged. Well, guess what? The nerds and the geeks 10 years later are all working for Google. So the New World Order has won. They've won.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
They've got all these guys that working for Google, the guys that can't get a woman in their life to save their life. They've all given into it. I don't know. The situation is so scientific. I don't even know if I'm even right about it. Sometimes I question myself because, I mean, I got to be honest with you, Warren. I mean, you say some things that I agree and then I don't agree with. You can't always agree with yourself because this is a complex process,
Yeah.
Well, Steve,
that's what I've been saying, man. And they've always had that kind of control over the population ever since they had well, we know of as nations don't even technically exist. If you really want to be honest, we've been under a one-world government ever since it's been recorded history, man. I mean, the word government itself, once you do an etymological breakdown, it breaks down to mind control.
Yeah, but here's a problem with your theory. Technology is easier to be under one world government. I don't think that you can say that the Aztecs were under world government while England was going on. I don't buy that bullshit.
I mean, they weren't directly ruled by the British, no. I mean, but they knew of the mysteries and things like that. I could pull out my Freemason encyclopedia right now. I have to dig it up. Where the fuck where did I put that at? Is it in here?
Well, Steve, the one thing that hold on one second.
I can dig it up and get back to you on it, man. Yeah. But there's a passage in my Freemason encyclopedia, and this is written over 100 years ago.
Yeah, I understand. I'm not saying that your knowledge isn't. There's a lot of things that lead to this stuff. There's a book called Catastrophe, and the author is a British author, and he's saying that basically that power changes just strictly by catastrophes in the world. So I don't buy this idea that for 6,000 years it's been the same group that's been running the world. I just don't buy that bullshit. I think that's an oversimplification to a world. Just because Plato read this in his Republic, you make it look like everything Plato said is the same thing 6,000 years ago as it today.
Well,
that's still the same playbook they use today.
Well, Warren, I think that we all agree that the masses are stupid. And it's easy to control the masses because they are all caught up into entertainment and easy living. I know this, but
Well, you know, Steve, I want to throw something in here real quick, okay? And then I'll let you guys talk, okay? This is something I said earlier in the show with Jay, okay? Because none of us was alive 6,000 years ago that are here today, we can come up with all the theories and go with what we got in our hands, even with the book Warren's holding in his hand, right? But we cannot concretely back up everything we have because when you're going back long before you were born, your information is coming from what's been put out there for us to get our hands on. Okay? So unless you was living back then to know, you would have no way of knowing outside of what you've been told or information you have found. So it's no different than anything else. You know, Steve, you and I don't always agree. Warren and I don't always agree. And
Yeah.
there is nobody that always agrees. But
no.
Yeah.
that is not a reason for anybody to be mad at each other. It's just,
Of course not.
individuality says, Steve, you have a right to your feelings and your opinion, like I do, like Warren does. And in a
Right.
way, I agree with Steve for the fact that when you go back 6,000 years ago to say what he's saying, I agree with him. In a way, I feel that there has been a bloodline throughout society, but at the same time, it goes right back to I don't have no concrete evidence to back that up. So it can only be my opinion. And it doesn't mean I'm right or wrong.
Yeah, and you, Warren, I know you tried to get involved in that whole thing a few years ago when you were on Bill's radio, the Just Bill show, but you did your expose on the bloodlines. But Bill, I mean, Warren, you're looking at one perspective. You can't amalgamate everything into one big conspiracy theory when you've got like all these different cultures living, trying to do their thing, and you're going to try to say, oh, everything's just one big conspiracy.
But you see the same patterns. You see the same. You see the same myths, the same parables, the same symbolism, and all of these cultures that supposedly have no contact with one another.
You obviously know one that's got. Who's that one guy, Michael Tessarian? I got his whole video series because somebody sent it to me years ago, like 12 years ago. And Michael Tessarian goes on. Of course, he uses fancy video graphic editing. I'm wondering, where do these people get this technology to make these videos using multi-million dollars? It seems like it's something out of a playbook. It doesn't seem
I
right.
can even tell you for a fact, man, the prior to the white man even settling in America, the natives were already involved in these mystery religions, man. If I can pull out my Freemason encyclopedia, man, I got to put up somewhere, man. But I'll pull it out for you, man, at some point. I'll get back to you on it.
If somebody is trying to spend hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars using fancy graphics, fancy charts, all this to promote the anti-New World Order agenda, it's suspicious. Bill, throw your 2 cents in on this, because that Truth Media is bullshit.
Well, Truth Media used to work
Truth Media is bullshit.
They worked for Alex Jones. They were working for fucking MGM Studios and shit. Okay, so you got to be careful because YouTube is absolutely loaded with agents and Hollywood involvement all the way. And people don't want to see that, but you know, it's no different than what I've told people over and over. When Google took over YouTube, they announced then that they were going to turn it into a television. The only way they could turn it into a television is with Hollywood involvement.
Bill, they're using proprietary software. When I saw Alex Jones's studio in 2002, it was something out of ABC Sports. It was a production studio. It's bullshit. This is not being done with a single laptop computer. Bullshit.
No, they have entire crews of people working with them.
Mm-hmm.
It's professionally done.
And I don't think Warren sees that. I don't think Warren understands that.
I don't think it's they don't understand. I don't think it's that Warren don't see it or understand it. But what Warren's following, I think there could be a lot of truth to it. But at the same time, I still have to stand with the point is we can't concretely back it or prove it. Okay, because it doesn't matter what information you're holding in your hand. When we've had nothing but deception and lies going on for hundreds of years, and you wasn't alive 100 years ago, then you have to really use critical thinking skills to say this could be very well true, but it could also not be true. And so then you have to go with the understanding that we've been lied to for hundreds of years. And we know a lot of stuff in today's society we're living in, we can concretely back. But anything past your lifetime, you're going to be going with information that somebody else has given.
What's happening right now in America is pretty much what happened in Rome. The only difference is we're going through the history of Rome in like a quarter of the time, and a lot of that's due to technology. Technology speeding things up.
That's true, but it's like,
you know what I'm saying?
It's like my last video I did earlier today. I went back to the article that Monday Forever Alone read, and I only went to the part with the countries that was listed in that article. When it comes to TFL or the dating arena, okay, the manosphere, we have a situation where there's a whole list of countries that are all experiencing the exact same thing. That is not an accident. You have president after president that does the State of the Union address once a year, and they keep talking global, global, global. So it is in your face what's going on that way, but how far back can we go with it? I can say you can only go back as far as you live and be accurate with what you have, but you're not going to be able to go back past your life and be as, you can still be accurate, okay? But you're not going to know how accurate you are.
You can apply to become a global citizen now. That became a thing under Obama, man.
I don't know Bill, I just think that I think a lot of people try to oversimplify the problems. And you and I have talked about the human ego. This ego thing is something that's so ingrained in people. It goes back. I don't care if you live in a small hick town, you got a hillbilly mayor. Bottom line is ego. Egos are huge.
Ego corrupts the human mind, just like power and greed.
Yeah.
I don't know, Bill. I don't. I'm starting to think that things are really just on a lot of things happen because of incompetence, but I'm not doubting these bloodlines. I think that there is hijacking of the media. I think Mark Castiel's a fraud, and I think David Icke's a fraud. I think they're all bought and paid for.
Yeah, I agree with that, Steve, because I'm pretty sure they are. But at the same token, I go back and say, okay, we've overinflated a lot of stuff because I can tell you just from real life experience, you have big obese guys with women that are heavy set but not big and obese. You have ugly bald guys that are skinny with obese women. You have, the looks match thing isn't a science that says it's actually that way, because it's actually really not. I think a lot of our problems in the dating arena are quite real, but I think they've been overinflated.
Yeah. Well, it's been gradually getting worse. I mean, since 1920 was the beginning of the suffragist movement, right? That's when you started. That's when equality plus chivalry began, right? And that's when they started normalizing discriminating against men, right? So that's proto-feminism in them days. And then you had feminism in the 60s, which that's why I find it funny that you got all these goddamn trad cons and stuff on the right that want to rebel against feminism by going back to the very thing that feminism grew from in the first place.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That don't make any sense. But yeah, now you got what you got. You got two flavors of feminism. I mean, it's.
Well, Bill, let me ask you a question. You exposed Michael to stereo. Where do you think he gets all his knowledge?
Michael Sarion.
Yeah, I mean, he's using 12 years ago, 13 years ago, he's using Hollywood graphics and editing and charts and music to edit his videos. And it sounds like something out of Hollywood. It doesn't seem natural. It's something very suspicious about it.
He's most likely groomed for his role, a lot like politicians and stuff. They're groomed for their role long before they're introduced to the public. They're raised for the, for that, to be able to perform their role. So, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so then he actually has the help of Hollywood.
Yeah.
You know what? Don't tell me you can do all this with Sony Vegas. You can do all this with Apple Pro editing software. That's bullshit. Now you can do good capturing software, but this stuff is being done with a multifaceted dozens of people in a Hollywood laboratory in a video lab. This is not being done. This shit is not being created by some single guy sitting in front of this laptop Apple computer. Bullshit.
No, I agree with Steve on that. There's too many incidences and videos that are very, very professionally put together, and that is not done from your house. If you're doing something from your house, it's what you see me doing over and over. It's what you'd see Steve doing. Yeah, I do some editing and I do some of this, some of that, but it's not laid out like Truth Media. It's not laid out like Alex Jones. It's not laid out like, okay, even Jason Goodman. He does shit out of his apartment, right? But he lives in Manhattan. He lives in a high-rise $1 million, freaking $4 million place, okay? He's directly hooked into Hollywood. So he's got a whole crew of people in his freaking house, okay? And all of this equipment, because he's the guy that invented the camera that does imaging and 3D and all the stuff Hollywood's using. So he's the guy that invented that camera for Hollywood. He's directly linked into Hollywood. So he has a crew of people with this fucking studio right in his own home. And he's pulling the blanket right over people's faces.
You know what? It sounds like something out of an alien story, Bill. It's like if Alex Jones. If it seems too good to be true, chances are it is.
Yeah.
Hold on, man. Hold on. I want to hear what David's got to say, man. I haven't heard from David in a while.
Oh, yeah, I'm just. I just been listening to what you've all had to say. It's interesting.
Okay, I just didn't want you to be shut out of the conversation, man.
Oh yeah, thanks. Thank you, Warren. Yeah, I don't know. Like I'm just kind of, I'm a bit sleepy. I've been up for like 24 hours, so I'm just a bit, by myself.
Yeah. But, yeah, I understand that.
I'm really enjoying it.
I'm an insomniac myself, man. I mean, some nights. Sometimes I can get to sleep, and some nights. I'm doing pretty good here lately. I mean, to be honest, but there's been nights where I went like almost 4 nights straight without even beginning to get tired. I started to get worried, man.
Wow. That's like a superpower or something.
Yeah, I don't know why it was, man. I mean, and the thing is, I'm a fucking pothead, yo. I mean,
Warren, that doesn't make you look too good if you're a pothead all the time.
Huh? Yeah.
I mean, Warren, I understand this is an escape, but it's an escape that can, too much of it can drive you crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think I'm doing all right, man. It's just something I enjoy doing. I mean,
Well, I smoked it for years myself, so I know where Warren's at.
Some people have a beer. I smoke a joint. I mean, I'll have a beer sometimes too. I mean, but
For me,
Yeah,
I,
I'm
you know,
fond
for
of
me,
cigarettes myself.
I never drunk, so therefore I smoked pot for a lot of years. And then when my son come along, I quit completely, you know, and every now and again I get a joint or something since then. But other than that, no, I don't need it. I don't have to have it. It don't bother me to be without it. I did discover this though. The pot does make you into a space cadet. I
I'll tell you
used
what it does.
Yeah.
It turns you into a cynical SOB. Too much of it makes you so cynical that you don't want to be around potheads, because there's nothing wrong with marijuana if it's done in moderation. But the problem is that people that do it for years, it turns you into a real cynical son of a bitch. And it drives, I know relatives like this. I can't stand being around them.
Yeah, well, you know, for me, the pot didn't really do that, but it would make me tired. I'd sleep easier, okay? And
Yeah.
then, of course, the other thing it does is it makes you very space cadet forgetful. I used to give my work companion that I worked with for a long time up in Florida on remodels, I used to
Yeah.
give him shit all the time because he'd fire up a bone and get a buzz, and then he'd go back to work, and he'd be forgetting where he put his tool and where he put this and where he put that. And I used to
Yeah.
give him shit all the time. Well, if you hadn't smoked that bowl, you wouldn't be spacing out where you put your tools.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, me and you have a lot in common. We both have mechanical backgrounds. Good. It's nice to
You
talk.
know what, though, man? I drive better stoned than I do sober.
Oh, you
That's no lie.
do you have a driver's license?
I mean, no, not right now. I don't, but I mean, I have driven before.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think pot interferes with your ability to drive like
Oh,
like alcohol does.
oh no, like alcohol, no.
Okay, alcohol is definitely worse for you, but I'm not going to say that pot isn't bad because you become a space cadet, not pay attention on the road, you can be dangerous to somebody yourself.
Yeah.
You may be holding your lane and not seeing 4 lanes when there's only 2 because you're not drinking alcohol, but your attention span is going to be reduced because you're high on weed.
Not for me, because I'm always super cautious about everything. Make sure I don't break any rules and stuff, because I want to give them a reason to pull me over.
Well, I understand your frustration. You've lived TFL most of your life, and you're very wise. And I think it takes a person like you to really see the world as it is. And I commend you for that, because sometimes you have to be at the bottom of the barrel in life to see the world as it is, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's for a lot of people. I think that's where the awakening process starts for a lot of people. They're at the
Yeah.
bottom of the barrel already.
And Bill,
Yeah.
this transcends to girls that have had weight problems. And if a girl's been discriminated because of her weight, she sees the world differently because she dealt with that. So a lot of that happens too. So everybody kind of deals with the world as they see it because of their experience, you know?
Yeah, that I would agree with.
Yeah.
Because not everybody has the same experiences as somebody else.
I mean, beautiful people, successful people, let's face it, have a different life. They do.
But there are some people, though, man, you know, even having lived at TFL, I mean, I'm going to say it's all, but there are some stupid-ass fucking TFL people, bro.
Yeah. Hey,
I ain't going to
Oh,
lie.
yeah. That's the incel community.
Did you ever notice how liberals will defend like minorities and immigrants, but when it comes to defending people who've lost both their limbs or handicapped, liberals will never be out there fighting for the rights of handicapped people. Liberals are the biggest
Yeah.
phonies in the world.
Yeah.
They only fight for what's trendy.
That's, yeah.
There's 43 million Americans that have some disability in this country, and there's very little talk about it.
They're like
Especially
invisible.
if you're a guy. Nobody gives a fuck if you're a disabled man. I mean, Hell, ask the fucking veterans who came home with fucking limbs missing and shit. They were left to fucking be homeless in the fucking street.
Yeah, how about brain injuries? Those are like the most common, like concussion injuries from like grenades going off. And man, these guys are oh my god.
Yeah.
Well, that's that's one of the big sad things about our society. When you're born with a penis between your legs, you're basically born to be screwed.
You know, and
Yeah.
we talked about this. Not all women are on plan with this. I mean, I think that what a lot of MGTOW men don't understand is they seem to think that all women are like on some team and the enemy. Most people, men, women, both, don't even know what the freaking hell's going on.
Correct.
Oh, very true.
Yeah.
You cannot look at a woman and assume that she's part of some anti-male conspiracy, because any more than you can say this guy's a mangina. The manosphere has actually done more damage to the truth movement than anything. I would say that MGTOW is an utter failure and will continue to be.
Well, I would agree with that. MGTOW is a failure. Okay, but I'm also going to go backward and say what I've always said. MGTOW was infiltrated. Because if it wasn't infiltrated, it would have never, ever been on mainstream media.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if that Big John was a fraud too. He was just an actor.
Yeah.
I've
Well,
wondered.
Big John, he said he was a Freemason in one of his videos. He said he was in the Freemasons.
Well, you know what? If he's a Freemason and he's on mainstream media, then what Steve just said is true.
The video seemed so scripted, it wasn't funny.
Yep. You gotta look at the reality is of what Jay just said is that he was a Freemason, right?
Yeah.
Well, that right there screams freaking volumes. If he was a Freemason and he's on mainstream media, Steve's words about him being an actor would be true.
He seemed like, I don't know anybody that can talk like they're reading off a script other than an actor.
But look, listen to this, man. Listen to this. And you can look at this. The BBC is putting articles out on this, man. This is the scientific age we're going into, scientific dictatorship, right? They're building brain chips, man. The chips that they can put into people's brain, they will be able to fucking like monitor their thoughts and edit their thoughts. This is where all this is heading eventually.
Well, I hope it's not happening to me. It might be. People say I'm getting soft here.
I don't think that's going to happen necessarily in our lifetime, but it's going to be potentially in our grandkids' life, or our kids or our grandkids' lifetime, or maybe their kids' generation.
Warren, let me ask you a question. Listen, I know you live on disability, but you are not kept from enjoying life out there. You know, here's the thing, though. I know life is tough. But it seems like there's so many people that are just kind of like, I guess you could call them lemmings. People say they're sheeple, but so many people are just going with the flow with this system. Do you feel like it would be detrimental for you to maybe just become, let's say, a country music fan and just listen to country music and enjoy it? And it's very simplistic music. Country music is very elemental music. I mean, it's not a... Go ahead.
I listen to some country. I listen to like old country, like Johnny Cash and Willie Nelson. I don't listen to this modern shit.
Yeah, but let me ask you a question. What in your opinion is wrong with modern country music? Because I have several people I work with that listen to modern country music, and they swear it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. They have memorized the lyrics to hundreds of songs. What is your...
I'm just not into it, man. To be honest, it's just not my thing.
You think it's just kind of like bubblegumish and cheesy, and it has no real true message?
Yeah, I mean, kind of. I mean,
I don't know what to say of it, but it must be a multi-billion-dollar business, because like these guys I work with are all country music fans, and they listen to this stuff like it is like, oh my, I gotta hear it. And it's like, I've never listened to country music, but all these people that are out in the country scene today.
I'll tell you this, though, man. A lot of these musicians, man, just like it is with Hollywood, they're a part of the entertainment industry. When they get up to a certain point in popularity, they're made to take that oath.
it seems
They don't
like
take that oath. They don't get the stage.
the music is so well put together with the musicianship. It sounds like it's done with people that are very well versed in music. I just
There
find it
are
hard.
some people that get through that aren't knowingly going along with it, or they are very reluctantly, such as like, you know, theoretically, like maybe Tupac and Biggie, for example, or some people say maybe possibly John Lennon, but usually, you know, the industry still use them with or without their knowledge. But I mean,
It's very. I mean, I listen. And of course, I come from a musical background. My dad was a musician, and my dad owned a music store. And I listened to the lead guitar riffs and the rhythm, and I know music theory pretty well. It seems like this stuff is so well created. It's almost like scientific. Like it's not. I find it hard to believe that some country bumpkin is just strumming a few chords on the guitar and it becomes this orchestra. It seems like it's done at a very high level.
Yeah.
Studio wise, what you hear is
I'm not saying that there's no money involved. Obviously, country music is a very big. I mean, these concerts sell out like crazy. But you say you're not into that music. I think the music is kind of cheesy because it doesn't deal with real life situations like as what we're dealing with today. It's centered around just living and having a good time, you know?
Yeah, well,
I mean, a lot of the stuff I listen to is like that, man. A whole lot of it. I mean, it's not all. I mean, you got like a whole bunch of war themes and shit, like in a lot of like heavy metal and shit. But it's not all about that. I mean, some of it's not like that. I mean, if you listen to like Judas Priest, there's a lot that's just happy, you know, go out and party and have a good time sort of music. I mean,
right.
that's one example.
Music by Black Sabbath was anti-war, like that song "War Pigs."
Yeah.
Yeah, see, now I grew up on country music. So when I was growing up as a kid, I got hooked into Don Williams and Charlie Rich and Charlie Pride and Hank Williams. And this was my thing, Johnny Cash, you know. And so I grew up on this stuff. And I loved the hell out of singing myself. I sung with Hank Williams and Merle Haggard and shit for years, okay?
I like Merle Haggard. I like old country, man. I like back when it was more raw. It was more real. I mean,
yes,
yeah.
And
too much stuff today is too overproduced and too fake and too. I mean, I don't know.
Even to this day, Warren, I still listen to Merle Haggard, Johnny Cash, Charlie Pride, Charlie Rich, okay, and all the older shit. And the older country to me has real heart, real life experience in it. Hank Williams sung so many songs.
It's not even just in country, man. It's in any genre of music, man. And I mean, the music industry as a whole, man. And I mean, I'd say from the late '90s onward, man, it became really shit. Here, I mean, at least here in our country, it became shit.
Country music has really taken off. It's become pop music now, and most of these country musicians are yuppie. They're the hillbilly kids that are yuppies. They're not kids that grew up on. They're the grandchildren of people that might have worked as sharecroppers, you know. But they're not actually. They're not living a life, you know.
Yeah.
It's lame. It's so lame. I don't know. I mean, I think it's popular. The country music industry. It's not dealing like what did you think of like when Toby Keith did his Red, White, and Blue? That was an international fiasco when he said, "We're going to put a boot in your ass," and everybody around the world thought, how fucking stupid was that? I mean, it was all corporate.
Yeah.
That was put together.
A lot of these entertainers too, they're paid to go out there and I mean, you know, a lot of times they got a hand up their ass. They got corporate sponsors or somebody paying them to go out there and, you know, create this stir. Like for example, like when Kanye West went around and said, when Taylor Swift went out of work for a few minutes ago, and Kanye West said, that's cool, but I don't think you're as good to Beyonce or some shit like that. That was one out of like many examples. Shit like that happens, and a lot of times, you know, it's staged, man. I mean, it's staged meaningless nothing to keep the fucking proles preoccupied with meaningless bullshit, you know, and distracted with meaningless bullshit.
When Toby Keith did his red, white, and blue video, they had him flying around with the U.S. military in a helicopter. Now, what is the chance of being able to do that without the CIA or the corporate people being involved? How could you get a guy like Toby Keith to get onto a military base, fly around, wear a helmet, wear a helicopter with other GIs in uniform, and then say, we're going to put a boot in your ass? I mean, it sounds like it was all corporately. That was the lead up to Shock and Awe. And he had a Shock and Awe. They even pre-named that. So Toby Keith had the album Shocking You All, but they called it Shock and Awe. And it was like the name of the war was pre-named for Toby Keith's video in his album. It's so fake. It was all pre-scripted.
Yeah. Well, you see, this is the thing too, man. You know, because people can always sit and say, you know, well, what's subjective or what's good music? And yeah, that is true to a certain degree, but to a certain degree, I mean, you know, a talented ear knows good music, man, and good art, period. I mean, you know, whether that's visual art or audio or whatever. And you notice the same patterns right now happening as well, you know, as like, say, for example, like leading up to like Nazi Germany or USSR. That's what you see. They dumb down the arts. They dumb down the arts to the lowest common denominator, and they lower the bar. And they use that.
They still have to have talented people that can create illusion, because it's like when you use high graphic editing skills to promote like truth media, okay, you're obviously down the public, but you have to use creativity to do it. Would you agree with me, Bill?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you still got talent there regardless, okay? Yeah. Okay, there's no doubt about that, but the music industry is like anything else, like Hollywood. It's very finely controlled, and you're not going to get into a position, even if you're a really good singer with really good talent, you're going to have to sell your soul to get yourself into a position.
Yeah, because I listen to country music and the lyrics are so elemental. It doesn't deal with like real problems and what people are dealing with. It's all elemental. Have a good time, party, chase skirts. Oh, that country girl, she looked fine. It's nothing really of any substance.
Well, you know what it does do, Steve, though?
What?
It promotes the division of the genders, because so many of them songs are dedicated to women.
Right. And Bill, what it doesn't take into consideration is that 30% of men out there are TFLers, which I think it's about 30%. And I'm averaging at that you're totally neglecting the fact that there are millions of men out there that are never going to be a part of that fine. That girl looked fine. We all went skinny dipping at the local pool or at the pond. And, you know, it's like they make it look like everybody has access to this life.
Oh, I know what you're saying. You know, I said something the other day, Steve.
Every guy has access to having a fine girl that they can party with, and we can go skinny dipping together, and that's bullshit. You know it is.
I know that.
Rubbing salt in the wound.
But you know, so I said something the other day, Steve, that I think is probably pretty accurate, and I don't want to get into numbers here, but you know, if we went back 70, 75 years ago, at that particular time in society, 90% of the men had somebody in their life.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
And now you come up to the days era, and you probably got 80% of the men that have nobody.
Yeah. Oh no. But yet we live in a society that creates the illusion. And Bill, I don't know the level of TFL. I mean, we can sit there and speculate on it, because it seems like a lot of the guys that I know, even guys that delivered pizza or guys that work in the food industry, still can manage to find somebody. Now, I don't think necessarily they're always happy, but the fact is I still maintain strongly that probably 30% of men out there today are probably living hardcore TFL. I would say it's no less than that.
Let me ask you this, Steve, because can I ask you something?
Go ahead.
Okay. Tell me if you haven't noticed the same pattern that I'm noticing right now. It looks like the nice guys and the bad boys are switching places.
Right. Well, you're seeing,
I was saying that earlier.
The bad boys are now becoming the nice guys, and the nice guys are becoming the bad boys, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you know, Warren, I had this discussion with Bill the other day, and we were talking about body language. And you know what? I'm on the fence with it, and I'll tell you why. Because I don't think people are. I can't judge you. If I met you in public, I could never assume that based on what you look like that you can't find a woman. I mean, Warren, we see these short, fat, balding guys all the time with a wife and 4 kids. How can you judge a person on their disposition when you don't know them? Now, have you ever seen guys that look like that can still manage to have a wife and 4 kids?
Well, I mean, them guys, you know, that could be like a single mother. It might not even be their own kids, right? You know, they might have married.
Right. That's true. You'd have to ask them, and you're right, because there are a lot more single guys nowadays that are getting married that have stepkids. So yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I always thought, you know, TFL was a big problem in the white and black communities because they have the highest rates of single mothers. You know, the Asians and the Hispanics, they don't really get divorced as much, so they have less Asian.
Nobody in
Well,
that.
what I also noticed though is, and this I kind of noticed myself, right, is the rare occasion that I do get a chick who's interested in me. It's always a very fat, either a very fat woman or it's a very old woman or something like that. You know, I mean, you know, like you see like a lot of average looking dudes with insanely fat women or old women or midgets or just taking anything that they can fucking get.
Well, Warren, let me ask you a question. What makes you think that you might not find happiness with an obese woman?
I just can't fucking. I mean, it just. I mean, I can't be with somebody who I'm physically repulsed by. I mean, I'm not trying to be like. I'm not saying that she's a bad person. I'm not saying that I can't be friends with her. But I mean, you know, regardless of a person, I mean, you know, I mean, dude, there could be like, I could have a guy friend who's got a great personality, but that doesn't mean I want to jump in bed with him or start a relationship with him. I mean.
Okay, Warren, the only thing I can say is I believe in karma. What goes around comes around. And I've done my share of discriminating women based on their obesity or whatever. But what happens is what you dish out comes back to you. And you might be experiencing that. I mean, it's kind of, I'm not trying to play the devil's advocate here, but we all kind of reap what we sow. I've done stupid things in my life, like where maybe I saw a girl was nice to me and she was maybe a little overweight, and I didn't call her back because I was maybe not as attracted. But then I find out that in the end, women are doing the same thing to men. So do you think it evens itself out, or do you think that maybe you should let your guard down and just say, maybe I'll give it a shot?
Well, I mean, you know, well, let me ask you this. How many times have women said, you know, oh, well, you're just looking for a supermodel. You're just looking for a woman who's out of your league, right?
Right.
Well, let me ask you this. I mean, I like to think I'm a pretty average-looking guy. I'm not horrendously ugly. I'm not fat, right? Technically, if we're going by looks, then if you want to put us in leagues by looks, then I would be out of her league. I mean, you know, I mean, but honestly, man, it's one of those things where, I mean, I can't force myself to be attracted to her. I mean, there's got to be a little bit of attraction. I'm not saying attraction is the most important thing, but there's got to at least be about 10% of attraction, man. I mean.
Yeah, okay, I see what you're saying, Warren. So in other words, what you're saying is, in your situation, you never find any woman that's attracted to you that you are attracted to. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, and it's very rare that you can get an offer at all, even from one of the women I'm not attracted to.
Warren, what's your understanding, in your opinion, of the fact that we see men all the time that we don't find attractive, that can still land an attractive girlfriend, or at least a mildly attractive? What do you think caused that situation?
Most of the time it's because they got money.
Yeah, money.
Come on, Warren, come on.
oh, you're going to assume they have money. An average-looking guy with a pot belly's got lots of money. Come on.
Well, you know what? You know what, guys? I'm going to interject here a minute, okay? Because I've met and know some people in my life, women who dated a guy that had no job, didn't bring an income in, and she kept staying with him, and she was the breadwinner.
Yeah, I know that too.
Yeah.
Okay, so nothing's 100% across the board. When it comes to
Yeah.
attractions, you know, Irvin was like my brother. He was overweight but not obese, right? His favorite woman was the morbidly obese. And any time a guy like myself even was with a woman that was skinny, right? He called her a twig. He says, I want to have a little meat. I don't want something that's a twig or a skeleton. So see, the thing is your attraction level can be different than somebody else's. What appasses you may turn somebody else on.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, but I mean, in general, I mean, I get what you're saying, but there's a general standard. I mean, at some level, I mean, most people like if I give people a picture of, like, let's say Kathy Ireland, like you know, like 90, let's say around 97, right, versus like Rosie O'Donnell, right?
Oh, yeah.
I guarantee you, you know, about at least a good 85% of the men are going to say Kathy Ireland looks better. I mean, we reverse this. You can give women a picture of Gilbert Gottfried or Leonardo DiCaprio, and I guarantee you, virtually almost damn near close to 100% of them are probably going to say DiCaprio. I mean,
Remember the movie where it had Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger?
you know,
like twins, and like one's supposed to be the really handsome one, and the one's sort of
you know,
ugly.
the thing is I think a lot of attraction is based off triggers of fertility and health and things like that. And I think to a certain degree, people will have to have a little bit of attraction. And some people might be attracted to things that aren't within that norm, within that average range. And that's fine. There's no problem with that. But I mean,
now this is just my opinion, and I've often wondered. Okay, I think a percentage of our attraction, and I don't want to put a number on it, has been shaped by society. Okay, and of course, nothing's 100% across the board, right? So then I often wondered if we took a society and we went into just one country and we put morbidly obese women as being hot and sexy for 50 years, all over the TV and the magazines and stuff, I would be curious to find out what the outcome would be for the population who grew up in that.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can see that, with like the popularity of like the black men, I mean, that they weren't, as popular back maybe 20 years ago, but nowadays, like, you get a lot more women who are into them, and that's because they're on the TV all the time.
I think there's some truth to that. I mean, I think it's a little bit of nature and nurture. I mean, I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, but I agree with that. I mean, they're definitely telling people on a large degree what to be attracted to. I mean, that's part of the culture, the conditioning machine. I mean,
yeah, I've often felt that, but I don't think it works 100% across the board. I think it's a combination of things. But I was often wondering, man, if I could do an experiment, I would take one small society and I would shove morbidly obese in everybody's face all over the magazines and being the hot, sexy one for about 50 years, just so I could see how it would come out.
Well, I mean, like, they used to do that, didn't they? Like, with men, like, back in the day, it used to be the swarthy Italians. Nowadays, it's sort of like the African dudes or like the supermodels, I mean, that's, and you see a lot of women who going for them sort of swarthy Italian types, and now they're not as popular as they used to be, and it's sort of more the African dude. He's more popular than he used to be. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of truth to it.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I
Like
think
I
it's
said,
I think it's interesting, though, that I do know that we have a variety of couples, and when somebody says look match, that's not always the case.
no, I mean, like the media, they know that attraction's shaped for the media, so they're promoting a specific type of man for the media because that image works. It infects like the hive mind, and that's what people want. That's what
I
they
would
see on
agree
TV.
with
That's
Warren on it when Warren says he wants at least a 10% attraction. I respect him for that, okay? I think a
Yeah,
person can outdo themselves because if you go through life looking for that number 10, and that's all you want is that number 10, I think you become your own worst enemy.
yeah, but
yeah.
let me. In
I
the
think you've
past,
got to be able to acknowledge the disparities between when you got completely normal, everyday, average-looking men that are so low on options that they're literally dating 300-pound midgets. I mean, just to have anybody. I mean, you know,
Well, it's sad,
yeah,
but if you drop yourself to the level to be with somebody that you're uh, totally offended by looking at, you're not going to do her any favors or yourself.
yeah, I agree. I totally agree. That's why a lot of those relationships end up bitter. They end up with no intimacy. They end up like the wife's usually cheating on him behind his back with somebody else. She's liable to divorce rape him. And that's what you call sperm beta bucks. And sperm beta bucks a lot of times go on to become fucking MGTOWs and talk about how bad they hate TFLers. They spend the first 20 years of their lives being TFL.
Well, I see an epidemic like, okay, guys that are looking overseas for a woman. I see an epidemic of that going on, and I understand why they are. But I also understand you're taking away from the men in that country, and you open a door for lots of women that are not serious to use for money and gain for themselves.
Yeah.
here, let me say something for a minute here, I guess.
Yep.
In the past, what you used to see was you'd get like, whenever the man was in power, you'd have the worst looking man would be in a relationship with the more attractive women. So maybe, we have to accept our fate. We understand that women are in power nowadays. So we just got to accept, dating women uglier than us, just like the women in the past had to accept dating men uglier than them. You got to swallow your
Yeah.
pride, I think. And then maybe
Yeah.
you'll have more options. But
Well, like I said, the serendipity in it is the fact that as much as TFL sucks in a way, man, and in a weird kind of way, we're also kind of lucky, man, because we don't have to put up with all the bullshit that comes in these toxic ass relationships these days. People can say that's a code, but look, let me tell you something, man. There's been a couple of times in my life where I quote beat the odds. This is before I was even awake to the dating scene. I mean, I was kind of awake to some degree on the New World Order, but not like I am now. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
Unfortunately, the reality is what it is. And I think a lot of guys, as toxic as today's society is, if you're
mm,
single and you're TFL, I think you're actually lucky in a lot of ways because people don't know how to treat each other anymore. And
yeah,
why would you want to be with somebody that's going to treat you lower than a piece of dirt on the ground and use you for what they can get? That's going to replace you after giving you a life of hell. If you can't get along and treat each other properly, you're better off to be alone because you're going to come home to drama, 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 or you're going to be at work while she's got your damn credit card or debit card out spending your money and not telling you, and then the drama's on, and then you got the irresponsible people. And I've met enough women that are very irresponsible with their money. And, even Dave would not be in the spot he's in financially if he had had a woman in his life, because she would have been spending his money as fast as he was making it.
mm.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not trying to be mean, but the reality sort of slaps you in the face because we have a society that's conditioned men to believe that they are the provider. And now
That's one
you're,
thing I would say. That's one thing I will say about my ex, man. Is when I go back, man, is she was never materialistic, man. You know, I mean, she was never about money or nothing like
well,
that.
that does exist, Warren, because even my son's mother was never materialistic, okay? She said
Yeah.
what she meant. She would take exactly what she had when she came into the relationship and nothing more. And she meant it.
Yeah.
She was not that way. See, when people think all women are about money, that's a lie.
There are a lot that are, but
Yes,
it's not
yes,
every one
there
of
is,
them.
but it's like I said, nothing's concrete across the board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I tell you, yes, there are still good women out there. It's just, it's like finding a needle in the world's largest haystack.
And I don't understand why these people that are so caught up on, you know, well, I gotta make enough money to support a woman, all this stuff. Like I gotta prove to her with my money. It's like, you know, number one, they have this idea in the society that it's a man's job, you know, to support a woman. No, it's not a man's job to support a woman. It's just a woman can go out there and work her own job now, and she can make her own goddamn money. Well, then what part of equality do you not understand? You want equality, you got it. He don't owe you a living now. Go make your own fucking living.
That's true. You know, it's like I left a comment the other day. This is off topic, but still on topic. In Steve Hoka's defense, okay? Because this guy come up on my video complaining about where is Steve. So I put him in a spot. Steve does not owe it to you to come up on a live stream or to make a video. I don't owe it to you, and neither does Steve. Steve has
Yeah,
his
Steve
own
still here?
life. Okay?
No, I think he left.
Yeah, he left. Okay? Steve Hoka has his own life. And so, just like I do, we don't owe that to nobody. I do it because I want to, because I care. Steve has a life. He gets busy. He hasn't made a video or live stream in a month. And people are whining about that. You need to get over crying about that. He will do
Yeah.
something when he feels like. Just like tonight, he came on this live stream. He did not have to do that. He chose to do that, so appreciate him for doing what he does. Just like me. Don't be slamming me if I decide I'm not making videos for a while. Understand I do have a life. One day I won't be here to make them anyhow. But hey, guys, we've been up here almost 4 hours. So I'm going to cut it.
Oh.
All right, man.
Okay? I need to get
Yes.
some sleep, and Jay needs to get some sleep.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, my fucking heart was going like earlier on, like it felt like it was
Yes.
dying or something.
Yeah.
So I'm going to cut it off now because it's almost 4 hours in. It's a lot longer than I planned. And I appreciate you showing up, Warren. Thank you, Jay.
Yeah.
And thank you, Steve. Sorry we missed you, Joe. Until the next one, guys, you all have a good one.